live from Doane Field on the campus of Yuma High School, a special edition of Matador Madness. There are no Matadors here. It is the Yuma City Championship Part 2. The first leg was already decided a couple of weeks ago as Cibola downed the Kofa Kings 27-7, and now the Raiders come here to try and get their first city title since 2002, and there's a whole lot more at stake in this game tonight than the normal city championship game as they take on their arch rivals, the Yuma Criminals. Good evening, everybody. Jim Howell, along with my partner in crime, AWC women's head basketball coach Patrick Cunningham. And Patrick, the great thing about 2005 as far as Yuma area football is concerned is now you have the Gila Valley region, which encompasses all the Yuma teams, and Casa Grande. So not only do you have the Yuma City title at stake, but you've got playoffs riding on this.
Yeah, I mean, you're already built in with the city rivalry going on. So you got packed house, and you've got senior night here at Yuma High. You're gonna have the pageantry of the police cars rolling out. It's all good, but now you know what, state playoff berths are on the line. That makes it even better. So you're gonna see one heck of a football game, not only for city pride, but for a chance to go to that state tournament, which is what everybody likes to do as a senior and on down.
And it's also something that these teams have not had a lot of opportunities to do. As a matter of fact, Cibola is the last team of the three Yuma City teams that has had a chance to make it to the state playoffs. That was 4 years ago in 2001, and Lucky Arviso, the current head coach, was the offensive coordinator of that team. The Yuma Criminals have not been there in some 14 years, all the way back in 1991. Their head coach, Red Stallworth, was not a coach. He was actually a player on that class of 91 team. And so, therefore, these guys know all about history, but they also know that puts that much more importance on being the first recipient of the Gila Valley region to go to the playoffs.
Oh, I think so. You want to get into that state playoff system, and both teams are shooting for that. Both coaches, both from Yuma, and just a lot of pride on the line. And that city championships is one thing, but what you talk about as a high school athlete is going to state. High school athletes, I mean, that's a big goal for them as they go through their years in high school. And you get that chance to go to the state playoffs, that's what you're shooting for.
There's a lot of parallels to draw between these two teams. Both of these teams, Yuma and Cibola, come in with identical records overall of 4-3. The Cibola Raiders have only played one conference game, and they were able to win that one rather easily. But and that was, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, against Kofa 27-7 2 weeks ago. For Yuma, they have played two games, and so far so good, although last week's was a barn burner as they just barely upended the Casa Grande team 26-22.
Yeah, they had Casa Grande here at home, which I think was favorable for the Yuma High Criminals, and looks to be like the Gila Valley region is a three-horse race. Cibola, Yuma, and Casa Grande, they seem to be the cream of the crop. The one thing that you got to remember, that wild card team could be Kofa, because you get into those city-type situation games, and they may come up and bite somebody there at the end. But right now, this is for control. Tonight is for control of the region, and the inside for the state playoffs.
Well, and when you talk to both of these coaches, Red Stallworth from Yuma as well as Lucky Arviso from Cibola, they know that basically the playoffs start here because the winner of this game controls their own destiny. Cibola knows with a win here, they only need a win over Casa Grande, and they're going to the playoffs. For Yuma, they know it's pretty much down to this game, that all they have to do is be able to beat Kofa, and they're in.
Yeah, state playoff atmosphere. It's a playoff atmosphere tonight. You get that anyway out of the city rivalry. So, but with more at stake, it's just going to be fun to watch and see who comes out tight, who comes out loose, and then there again, some of these games you expect a little bit of trickery, and everybody, they're going to let it all hang out tonight and see who can get the W.
Well, there's also something else you expect with these kinds of games, inter-city rivalries as well as the Yuma City Championship, and that's butterflies. And I was down on the field before the game looking at some of the quarterbacks as they were going through the drills. You could tell they were tight because they were overthrowing their receivers or they were throwing behind them, and it took them a couple of reps before they were finally able to just kind of sigh deeply and be able to throw it where they wanted to throw it.
Yeah, the one thing about football is, you're one or two mistakes away from things getting away from you, and you got to really mind your errors early in those games, because somebody gets a big play early, they start to ride that momentum, and it can get ugly pretty quick for somebody.
Well, there's a lot of things riding on this game, and you said riding momentum. There's a couple of guys that these two teams are going to be riding on. One of the guys is Robert Diaz, the tailback from Yuma High. He has been everything for this Yuma High team. Just under 800 yards rushing in the first 7 games, 796 to be exact, and 15 touchdowns. That's absolutely huge. Now, if you look on our cameras, you see the smoke, you see the sirens. This is one of the most special parts of high school football in the Yuma area, and the Yuma Crims have it. It is their intro to bringing their team on the field. The Yuma Police Department has their cars in place, sirens going, you see it going, and we are going to just step back and watch the pageantry.
It's the jailbreak.
That is a scene that has actually made national sports shows. The Yuma Crims following the Yuma Police Department out onto the field for their home games, and in 2005 it's no different, and you can see the fans are on their feet. They are excited, and this is one of those times where it doesn't matter whether you're a home or a visitor. Each side of this field is going to get loud before the night's out.
Oh yeah, you get pumped up now. You get the police cars out there, and you know Cibola's pumped up too. You know they want to come in and wreck on the parade right now. They didn't have to travel very far. They got fresh legs. It's not like they're on a long road trip. So Lucky RVs, he's got his team ready to go, and they're going to battle it out tonight.
Well, and we talked about Robert Diaz on the Yuma side, but on the Cibola side, Armando Pena has been a very pleasant surprise. He had to win the job in preseason at quarterback, and he has thrown for 1,121 yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio is fantastic. 11 in the end zone and only 4 to the other team.
You know, and they run that 50-50. They pass it and then they run it, and the big surprise for them on the running side of it is Brandon Hall. The sophomore running back, he's churning up some big yards, and anytime you get successful running game going, that opens up the pass, and I think that's taking a lot of pressure off Armando Pena.
So Brandon Hall is the counterpart on the Cibola side to Robert Diaz, and for Armando Pena, his counterpart has also been a pleasant surprise, and that's Yuma High's quarterback, Josh Hall, who has thrown for over 1,000 yards. 6 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, but he has really come on in the last few games, and that's been one of the differences as to how Yuma High has gotten back up to the top of the region.
Looks like we got Yuma High is going to receive this kick.
So Yuma High will start it off in the north end zone, as you see, wearing their customary home navy blue trimmed in white, and Cibola in their road white uniforms trimmed in gold and black. It's the Raiders and the Crims, version 16. Yuma holds a 9-6 lead all time in this series, but of course, as we just mentioned, Patrick, none of those 15 games had as much riding on it as this one, and so there's a special electricity in the air.
No question. Cibola kicks it off. State playoff in the balance. Both teams are ready to roll. It's a beautiful night here in Yuma, and there's no wind. It's just nice and cool, and everything you could ask for, you're getting right now.
Ready for city championship football, the man they call Junior, Efren Mandahano, with a short kick, and a fair catch called for and made immediately by Mick Megan, one of the wide receivers. And so trying to catch him napping was Cibola, but Yuma was all over it.
Yeah, you kick it to the guy they're well schooled about that, and Megan being the son of the principal, I think he's got it in his head. Hey, I know what to do. Make the right play. Fair caught it, and Yuma gets the ball at 32-yard line. Great field position to start.
That's a great start for Josh Hall and company. Again, Hall, the varsity quarterback, also is a free safety at times on the defensive side, but he is a 6-foot, 175-pound junior. And, of course, Robert Diaz the focus, and he will start it off, busting through a hole right up the middle, and he's close to first down yardage as he's upended at the 42-yard line, and that should be enough to move the chains.
Yeah, free safety, Ryan Evangelista, he makes the tackle, and, if the free safety's making the tackles, and if he's making first contact on the running backs, then, it could be a long night for Cibola. Right now in this first quarter, Jim, teams are just wanting to avoid that early miscue, and that will pump up the other team.
So Diaz, with that run, officially goes over the 800-yard mark rushing. A pickup of 11, and it's 1st and 10 at the 43. Diaz now going off right tackle. He had a hole, but he's swallowed up as he gets across the 45-yard line. And the play made that time by Robert Davidson, one of the backup defensive linemen. So that's a pickup of 3 for Diaz on the second carry. Again, Hall is the quarterback. Diaz is the tailback, and John Matos, The veteran fullback is in front of him. The wideouts are Edgar Gonzalez and Trevor Mendez, but we'll see plenty of T.J. Gardner and Mick Megan before the night's out. And the tight end is Adam Sewing, the returning starting tight end. Hall going to put it up in the air for the first time, and he's got a man right in midfield. Good catch by T.J. Gardner. He's close to the first down before he's brought down finally at the 47-yard line by strong safety Jared Lackey.
Well, you get that one-on-one coverage out there. You got eight in the box trying to stop the run, so it's one-on-one on the receivers. Wide receiver drives off the cornerback, runs a little 7-yard route, turns and catches the ball. He's got to make one guy miss. You know, great play calling by Yuma right now. They seem to be in an offensive rhythm.
It's enough for a first down. However, Gardner comes off the field limping a bit. 1st and 10, they'll hand off straight up the middle. Running into his own man at the 45-yard line of Cibola is Diaz. So it's a minimal gain. They'll mark him just in the inside part of the 45-yard line, pickup of 2.
You got to like Diaz's running style now. He's a smash mouth kind of guy. He's going to get into the line of scrimmage and knock you over if he gets there. Sometimes with running backs, they need to maybe get in there and kind of shuffle the feet and wait for things, read those blocks a little bit better. But, you know, Cibola tonight, it's going to be a steady diet of Diaz and then into the air.
He's got a veteran offensive line in front of him. On the left side, Montana McClanahan and Eric Schaefer, and Zach Lemos is the center. Here is bouncing off tacklers, getting close to the first down, and that's Ellis Maskey giving Diaz a breather. Maskey, the backup tailback, and getting good yardage and getting some quickness so that it kind of varies it up and gives Cibola a different look.
And there again, Maskey, he hits the hole hard, but, you know, if he gets in there and just kind of reads it a little bit and bounces it off before he runs into his own line, you know, he might break that for a little bit more. But bottom line is, Yuma's moving the chains, and they're beginning to see that end zone there on Cibola's end.
And they're doing very well on second down coverage. So it's 1st and 10 Crims at the Cibola 36. Diaz back in there, but this time it's going to be negative yardage as Matos could not get the Robert Davidson, the defensive lineman, out of the way, and so Diaz's holes quickly was swallowed up. It'll be no gain, and 2nd and 10 from the 36.
Looked like Josh Tamayo, he plugged it up for him, so the Cibola Raiders starting to key on the running game and puts Yuma in that 2nd and long situation, which is defensively, that's what you like to see.
Diaz unofficially 4 carries, 16 yards, a wide out to each side, and handing off again. Diaz, big hole, but he's tripped up right at the line of scrimmage. He could have gone for a while had he been able to stay on his feet. They're going to mark his forward progress at the 33, but now 3rd and long for the Crims. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Look like Danny Hayward there, number 24. The Willie linebacker, they got that. They kind of, you know, it's a weak side. They don't want to call it weak, so sometimes they come up with the Willie or the quick side or the fast side. But he got a piece of him, knocked him over. 3rd and long for the Criminals.
Malachi Martin is the right guard. T.J. Smallenberg is the first-year starter at right tackle for Yuma, and now flags go down, and that will blow the play dead.
Looks like you had one of the Raiders lined up offside. High school football, they're going to blow that whistle right away. And that's a tough break for Cibola because they had him right where they wanted to, and now it becomes a 3rd and short situation. And looks like the Criminals are going to send in another play. They're going to change their play here.
Edgar Gonzalez will bring in the play for Josh Hall. He will replace Mick Megan in the lineup. And so 3rd and 2. And I'm sure just about everybody in the building is expecting number 4, Robert Diaz, is going to get the ball. Tight formation, only one wide out, and sure enough, there's Diaz with a big hole, keeping the feet turning across the 25-yard line. He's got the first down. He's got a pickup of 5 when they needed 2, and that will get the Crims closer and closer to the edge of that red zone.
Those penalties, they'll knock you out. Now, you know, put the Criminals in a position where they probably were going to pass, and they end up getting the run. They go to their strength, their running back, and pick up that first down. They're inching their way toward the end zone. Very good-looking drive for the Yuma Criminals to start this game.
It started at their own 32-yard line, and they are knocking on the door 1st and 10 at the 23. Hall under center. Again, tight formation, and it's John Matos' first opportunity for a carry. Straight up the middle as Diaz was trying to catch him napping, but the Raiders' defense is right there and stops him after a gain of 2.
Yeah, Cibola, they got 8 in the box now. It's like a 4-4 look with 3 people governing the receivers, so just trying to catch them thinking Robert Diaz, and trying to get those linebackers to bail out and over-pursue, but it didn't happen on that play, and Cibola seems to be stiffening up here.
Diaz is big and stocky at 5'9", 195, but even bigger and stockier is Matos at 5'10", 230. Hand off Diaz, going off right tackle. He's close to the 15-yard line. Pickup of about 4, and that's going to set up 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, Diaz did a nice job there. He kind of tiptoed and read, let the blocks happen, and then he accelerated, picked up good yardage. Danny Hayworth again on the tackle, inside linebacker for the Cibola Raiders.
Well, if they were stopped here, it would be a 33-yard attempt for Tito Rodriguez, who has not missed in either one of his 2 previous field goal attempts. But, of course, the Crims are thinking much larger than that. Hand off Diaz. He's caught behind the line of scrimmage and can't hop over his own man. Being pushed back was T.J. Smallenberg, and that's going to stop Diaz for a loss of 2 back to the 18-yard line. Now a decision on 4th down for Rhett Stallworth.
Yeah, he probably ended up going for this thing early in the game. Jared Lackey, strong safety for Cibola, comes up and knocks the Criminals' offensive tackle back into the backfield, and that stuffed things up. So 4th down and less than 5, they're going to go for it here.
They will go it on 4th and 5. They've got to get down to the 12-yard line of Cibola to keep the drive alive. Play action. Hall rolls to the left. He's got a man wide open. That's the tight end, Adam Sewing, close to the goal line. He will be brought down right at the 5, and that's good enough to move the chains. A pickup of 13 on Hall's 2nd completion of the night.
One heck of a throw by Josh Hall. He got stuck there right after the throw by Pedro Figueroa, who came charging hard. He has to turn his body back against the grain to make that pass. So he did a nice job of not only delivering the football, but doing it under some duress.
Sewing's 13th reception of the year. He's now over 200 yards receiving in that category, and it's 1st and goal from the Crims. Again, this drive started at the 32. Diaz just finding his way through a hole as he is hit right at the line of scrimmage and then spins his way down towards the 2.
What a luxury to have a tailback that you can get positive yardage out of, and an offensive line that's seasoned, and they're ready to go, so they're pumped up. It's been one heck of a drive by Yuma. Now they just got to cash it in here inside the 2-yard line.
And right now that front 5 of Yuma is winning the battle over the front 5 of Cibola, because the Cibola defense is a 5-2 defense. 5 men on the line. Handoff Diaz going left. This time he's caught by the ankles. He falls forward. It's going to be a minimal gain, if anything. And that will set up a 3rd and goal from about the 2. That front 5 is a genuine front 5. It's not like they bring up the linebackers and put them on the line. The ends are Michael Slogic and Tyler Greenwood. The defensive tackles are Josh Tamayo and Robbie Hayworth. And Jose Fabiani is the nose guard stuck in the middle. But there's also plenty of Justin Orta as well as Kevin Franco. And the inside linebackers then, who really have to man a lot of ground, are Pedro Figueroa and Danny Hayworth. And that puts a lot of pressure on the safeties, Jared Lackey and Ryan Evangelista. Handoff Diaz on 3rd and goal, and he's going to be wrapped up and stopped short by Robbie Hayworth, the defensive tackle. A great play, and now another big decision on 4th down for Stallworth and the Crims.
Well, there's no question they're going to go for it here. They're in a great spot. If they don't make it, Cibola's got 99-plus yards to go. But the thing about Yuma Criminals right now, they don't seem to have any kind of perimeter speed. So, as good a running back as we have in Brandon Hall, or in Robert Diaz, excuse me, it doesn't seem like they trust him getting to the edge or to the corner, and they may try to go there right now.
They've got a triple option, full house backfield. It's a handoff Diaz, just trying to push the pile forward. No signal yet, and I think he's going to be stopped short.
I don't think
the line judge is moving up, and it looks like they have stopped him at the half-yard line. Wow. And look at the Raiders celebrate, and we've only played 8 minutes of this ball game, but a huge stop.
That's about as close as you can get to the goal line without getting in, so they went with a different look in the backfield, try to power in behind 2 more people. Really, sometimes that just creates more congestion, and he couldn't get across the goal line because of it, and credit Cibola. They bend, but they didn't break here. They got a long way to go on offense.
So with 3:35 remaining in the first quarter, the Crims took it from the 32 all the way down to the half-yard line, but can't push it in. They take nearly 8.5 minutes off the clock. But here come the Raiders with, as you said, Patrick, 99 yards to go. Armando Pena is the quarterback. Pena, the returning starter, 6'2", 264-pound senior, and just trying to get it out of the end zone is Brandon Hall.
Hall did a nice job getting forward. He knows he's got to get them out of that end zone there. So he could have tried to run for extra yards. He dove forward and put them in a little bit better position to get themselves away from that safety situation.
Hall was a little bit of everything last week, and the win over Kingman. He had 21 carries on the ground for 153 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, but then he also punctuated it on special teams with an 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So Hall can do a little bit of everything, and he is the deep back right now on second down and a long 7. Handoff again, this time going off left tackle and just lowering his head to push his way across the 5 to the 6 again is Brandon Hall.
Brandon Hall, he's that guy you want on your fantasy team. He can do a lot of different things for you. He can score in a variety of ways. Cibola a little reluctant to throw the football right now. If they were to go play action here, they might have some success, but there's a risk involved. So they may want to play it safe here, even if they have to trade field position for a little bit. They're just trying to get that first down, and that might have them open things up just a bit.
High school fantasy football. I think you've stumbled on something, my friend. So 3rd and 4. And, of course, this is dangerous territory. Pena doesn't want to make a mistake here. He looks to throw his first pass wide open at the 15-yard line. A nice throw and catch by Junior Mandahano, and that will be enough to get him out of the shadow of their own end zone and move the sticks. It's a pickup of 12.
Both teams are really focused on stopping the run, so when you get one-on-one coverage out there on the receiver, they got to respect the deep route, so your wide receiver is running hard, pushing that defender off, making him get into his drop, and then you hit the brakes and you time it up real good. Both quarterbacks are delivering the football through the air, and they both look pretty good.
Mandahano, one of the starting wideouts, along with Bud Shaw, and Hall is the tailback with Josh Price in front of him. Handoff Hall going to the left side. There's no hole there, so he just has to ram forward across the 20. Still good yardage on first down as he gets down to the 21. It's a pickup of 4.
Little counter action play, you can get the quarterback Pena taking that and bootlegging and put somebody in the pattern later on. So, there's progressions of plays, and right now they're real comfortable running the football. The Raiders are just as Yuma was in their first offensive possession, and then the run sets up the pass. Both teams, pretty organized offensively.
Lucky Arvizo tries to pride his offense on being 50-50 run and pass. That was Pena's first completion of the night. Play action. He's got time. He throws, and it's caught by the tight end, Jared Lackey. What a catch at the 33-yard line, keeping the feet down. That's a pickup of 12 and a first down. And Lackey, who is the tight end, is the leading receiver on the year for the Raiders.
Well, I think that's the guy that Pena was competing for at the quarterback spot.
That's right.
And he was, he was man enough to take it and say, hey, I'll come in. I'm going to help my team at the tight end spot. And he did a good job there. There's your progression. They run the counter play, and then they come off and run the counter action play, and they throw the pass down the field. And like I say, both teams moving the ball very efficiently right now.
Even though they were competing for the same job, Pena and Lackey have both come out saying what great friends they are in spite of the competition. In fact, it made them better friends.
Whoa.
Oh, with a big hole. 40, 45. He's able to break a tackle. It's a foot race. The 30.
Nice.
Cuts inside at the 25, and he's finally down to the 16-yard line. A 51-yard run by Brandon Hall, and that gets Cibola on the move.
Well, you got Jay Walker somewhere out there going, counter tray, that's the counter tray. That's the Skins, It looks like the Washington Redskins right there running counter tray. You got two guys pulling, and they run that counter action. Here goes Pena. He can flat out fly. Nice looking run by the kid. Here's the replay on the TV down there. He's going to make a nice cut to get himself a few extra yards right there, and then lucky the number 41 for Adam Stewing grabs the jersey, or he would have been gone.
And he was able to also outrun a tackler right at midfield to add about 35 extra yards to the run. Keep in mind that the longest run from scrimmage this year for Brandon Hall is 63 yards. That was 52 to get Cibola in the end zone. So right now, defense is not a factor, at least until they get close to the goal line.
Tell you what, Cibola right now very efficient. They've done a good job of mixing things up, getting the Yuma Criminals on their heels. And unfortunately, in high school football, they don't have that play clock at the end, so you don't know how much time's remaining to get the snap off. There's 19.2 left in the quarter, but they may have ran out of time, so they didn't want to wait to risk the delay of game penalty. So they ended up going with the timeout here. Trying to figure out what their next play is going to be.
Well, and it shows you two teams that are keeping it on the ground for the most part, and it's absolutely chewed up this clock, the game clock in the first quarter. In fact, in game time, it's 11 minutes and 41 seconds, but in real time, it's only been 19 minutes that this first quarter has lasted, and we still have no score because of that extended drive by Yuma that stalled at the 1-yard line, and now Cibola has taken it 84 yards the other way. So here comes Cibola after the timeout.
And the quality of play is what speeds the game up as well. No penalties, completed passes. I mean, it's just been a well-played game so far.
Both wideouts go to the left side on this pattern. Handoff, and this is the backup tailback. That's Danny Hayworth, and Hayworth is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe give him a half-yard gain, but that's all, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, you know, Brandon Hall just punched off the big run, so he had to go out and get himself a blow. He's right back in the game, so he's got some fresh legs, and you'd probably see number 8 here, either as a decoy or getting the ball as the first quarter ends.
That is the final play of the first quarter, and it is nothing, but it certainly has not been a defensive battle as both of these offenses have marched down the field in the first 12 minutes of play, and they have given their teams their money's worth, and you can hear the Cibola Raiders fans cheering on their team on the far sideline.
Now, how about that goal line stand? I mean, it's inside, you know, the 2-yard line. The Cibola Raiders hold them 3 straight times, and that pumps up your offense. They get out there, and they're very efficient. Once they got that first down, it allowed them to open things up a little bit. They used the pass a couple times to help them out. Great catches and pass routes done, and then they get the big run from your big-time runner.
Well, and you can see that these are two offenses that are bred on the run, but they have the run set up the pass, and it's so far you have seen them struggle in past games doing that. So far, both of these teams are working that to perfection, letting the run set up the pass.
There's no question about it. And what happens is if you run successfully, then they've got to commit more people to stop the run. That leaves your receivers one-on-one, and if you buy your quarterback enough time, you know, both these guys have shown that they can deliver the football.
So now it's a big 2nd down, 10 yards to go for the Raiders. Right at. Now they're actually standing at the 10, but I believe the ball should be spotted at the 15.
Yeah, they're not there. That's a missed spot right now.
And you can see the chain gang has it correctly that they have it from the 15 to the 5, and now the referees caught it and they're going to back it up. Of course, the Raiders weren't about to complain.
Well, you had a little controversy last week with the spotting of the football for Casa Grande. So, you know, sometimes those things happen. You just got to survive. But, you know, the best thing about it, you got the officials down there. They're huddled up. They're going to get it figured out. And that's what you want to see is before the play gets going, get it figured out and get it placed at the right spot.
So for the moment, while Pena waits for the referees to get it set, it looks as if it's going to be 3 wide receivers as Jared Lackey, the tight end, is going to wind up in the slot. And now I think Pena wants to huddle them up one more time, so the referee still conferring, but I don't think there has to be too much of a conference. Again, the ball should be at the 15-yard line, 2nd down and 10. We want to remind you, as long as we are on AWC TV for this special edition of Matador Madness, Matador Mania comes your way every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock right here on Adelphia Cable Channel 74. Everything you wanted to know about Matador Athletics but were afraid to ask, we'll answer it. Every 30-minute block of time features all 7 sports devoted to AWC Athletics. Tuesdays at 7 with a rebroadcast Wednesdays at 9. Matador Mania right here on AWC TV, Adelphia Cable Channel 74.
And you got to remember now, we have 7 sports out at Arizona Western College, and what happens is we have, you know, some of the better athletes here end up playing for the Matadors. Our soccer team right now is in a position to finish 2nd in the league, you know, only behind the defending national champs, mainly with the roster from Yuma.
Right.
And,
well,
you know,
for that matter, your women's basketball team, you've had a couple, and you've got Vanessa Estrada right now on your team from Cibola.
And we got 5 this year now. We got plenty of firepower from inside, and Kelly Green signed a couple kids from the Yuma area, which is nice because that means that the athleticism here is elevating, and the quality of play out of the kids coming out of high school. You know, if they're able to compete at our level, because our level is one that, you know, we're trying to move kids onto the Division I level. So, you know, that's what people need to understand is, you know, the quality of play at Arizona Western College is at a high level as far as junior college athletics go. And if kids from the area are playing, then they're pretty darn good.
Well, and that's also one thing you hope that the Gila Valley region being formed will do, that it'll help breed confidence in the teams. And you can tell this first season they've started out a little bit slow, having to go to the level of competition that's here, but to be able to build confidence in your programs, that builds numbers and that builds the level of competition up, so that the only way that your teams can go is to get better.
Yeah, no question. We haven't run a play here now, and the ball keeps inching closer to the goal line, and I think, you know, we kind of know what happened.
I'm still trying to figure out why there is a major discussion about this, because once again, the play from Brandon Hall went to the 15-yard line, and then on 1st and 10 from the 15, Danny Hayworth was stacked up at the line. So the referees are still trying to confer, and the chain gang right now is just listening to them. But I think the chain gang's standing on the far sideline going, you know, I think we were right.
Yeah, what happened? They goofed up when they went to switch quarters. At the end of the quarter happened. You know, there was somebody grabbed the wrong spot. So now they've decided to move it back, I think. And what they've done is they've credited.
They've given 5 extra yards for the moment to Cibola.
Yeah, so the backup running back Danny Hayworth gets a better run than he actually got. But well, now they're going to go back with it.
Now they're going to go back.
There we go.
Well, you know what? This is not something that they're normally able to do, that they're normally able to have at their disposal in high school, but considering we're doing TV, they should check with Sherry Needham and our great crew and get an instant replay on where the ball should be. But
they got it right, though. That's the main thing.
That's right. 2nd and 10. We start the second quarter. No score. Cibola and Yuma and Pena going back, trying to set up the screen, but there's nobody there. Now he's able to dump it off to Josh Price at the 22, and all of that is just going to get him back to the original line of scrimmage before he's brought down by Zach Lemos, one of the defensive ends.
Well, trying to set up the screen pass, and it looked like they might have gone with the middle screen there. You know, obviously they're going to be aware of where number 8 is, Brandon Hall, and what happens with the quarterback Pena, he breaks the tackle and avoids the big loss, and it comes back, hits his second receiver probably in that particular play, and then they get back and they don't lose anything, but they don't gain anything.
Tough to set up the screen and hard work for that 5-man offensive line for the Raiders. Jason Ostrowski and Nam Ho on the strong side. The center is Jose Fabiani, and it's Josh Tamayo and Justin Order on the weak side. Here's a throw and a bobble and drop right at the last minute. Incomplete. Bud Shaw had his hands all over it, but he was being twirled around at the same time by Ellis Maskey and Edgar Gonzalez, and it's incomplete. It's 4th down.
That was a great throw by Armando Pena. Ball got delivered, and then what happened with the catch, though, he didn't get it. He didn't get it right away. Bud Shaw had it in his hands, and then the defender came in and made a play on it. Didn't give up on it. You know, could have been caught for a touchdown. Defender stays with the play, and as a result, the ball gets flipped around, and it's going to be 4th here. And I don't think Cibola has attempted a field goal all year. So
they have not, and Lucky Arvizo has said there have been a couple of times we could have gone for it. We decided we wanted to keep him off the field, and Mandahano right now is lined up as a wideout. Pena with a lot of pressure, throwing in the end zone. Slipping is Mandahano, and it falls incomplete in the end zone. Mandahano had the break, and Edgar Gonzalez was able to make up the ground because of the slip on the turf.
Tough throw for the quarterback. Pena. He has to turn all the way around, and then he chucks it a long ways, and the ball is kind of fluttering and dying, but yeah, the receiver falls down. Both teams very good drives on their opening drives. Both teams in a position to score points, but neither one has come up with anything. And well played so far, but nothing to show for it.
Crims went 67 yards on their first drive. They needed 68. Cibola was able to go 84 yards in their first drive, but they needed 99. So here they go. Josh Hall going the other way, and he completes the pass, and a good burst of speed after making the catch is Trevor Mendez. He gets it across the 30 to the 32-yard line. That's a pickup of 17 yards. That's Hall's longest completion of the night.
Mendez not happy with the catch. He wants to run after catch, and he did a good job of catching it, turning, and accelerating. He didn't really need to make anybody miss because he drove the cornerback off and had room to operate. So Yuma comes back after the big play defensively and goes air.
It was Keyshawn Williams, one of the starting cornerbacks, that had to make the tackle. He and Mandahano are the corners. Hall with pressure, rolling to the right, throws in desperation, and the pass intended for Adam Suing, and coming up behind and knocking it away is the free safety Ryan Evangelista. It's 2nd down, and that's the first incompletion for Hall in 4 throws so far tonight.
And he had to throw that off his back foot, so the ball hung in the air a little bit too long, allowed Evangelista to close the distance, and then he made a nice play from behind, getting that hand in front and knocking it down. So both coaching staffs, they got to take some credit here because this has been well played so far, and these kids are doing their jobs, and it just looks like they've been well schooled.
And as you said, very few hankies that we have seen so far in the first quarter plus. Hall on the play action, stops, throws. He has to throw off his back foot. The pass is long. The pass is caught. T.J. Gardner, a diving catch down at the 37-yard line. That is a big pickup of 31 yards, and that was something that was up for grabs momentarily.
You know what? That happens. That happens on Sundays. It happens on Saturdays. You just get one-on-one out there, and then the quarterback puts his trust in the receiver, and he says, "Hey, go fetch the football," and it becomes a jump-off situation. This time, Keyshawn Johnson doesn't quite get it. T.J. Gardner comes down with a big play.
So Gardner brings him to the 38, and Diaz with his first run is a big one straight up the middle, getting close to the 20. Finally herded down there. And it was once again Keyshawn Williams having to bring him down from his cornerback spot. But that's a pickup of 15 yards, a first down, and that's the longest run from scrimmage for Diaz tonight.
Criminals' first possession, run, 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 pass when you need it. Second possession, pass, pass, pass. Boom, now we're back on the run. So great play calling here by the Yuma Crims.
First and 10 at the 23, and the Crims trying to knock on the door again. Still scoreless. Handoff Diaz, not as big a hole this time. He just runs into the middle of the pile, and he stopped right at the 20. So the Raiders trying to stack him up, and the man who was able to bring him down that time was Michael Slajek, the strong side defensive end.
Yuma High comes out. It looked like they had a definite game plan. We're going to attack with the run first time around. Second time around, they came up and went airborne on them. Now they're knocking on the door again.
Handoff Diaz, just going off left guard, but there isn't a whole lot there. And once again, it's Slajek wrapped around his ankles, and a late flag comes down at the end of the play, so this could be big if this is against Cibola.
Getting those piles, sometimes you start getting a little impatient and start kicking and talking, and got a little face mask on the Cibola Raiders. Whether that happened during the play or after the play, but you got to be able to kind of unpile yourself without losing your cool, or if you're getting in there and attack the runner, you don't want to do anything out of the ordinary. So, that was probably something that happened in that pile. Kids get in there, there's a big pile, and you start getting impatient.
Especially if they think they might have a chance to strip the football, then they just start grabbing, and they're not paying attention as to what that hand actually grabs.
Yeah, and you get down here, the yards are tough enough to come by. You don't want to give them any help, so Cibola, probably not the best move out there. Yuma High gets the first or second and short here.
It's second and short. They've got to get about 1.5 yards for the first down, and now the play blown dead, and a flag goes down by the near line judge, and that's going to be offsides against the Raiders. So the Raiders have just handed the Crims a first down.
Well, they've got 3 penalties. 2 of them they've lined up offsides defensively, so that's an automatic 5 yards. And then they had the face mask penalty, and the Criminals now they're gaining positive yardage, but they're not having to run, and they're not having to do much of anything there. And it's going to be first and goal now inside the 9 for Yuma, and it's going to be tough getting into that end zone here.
And if I'm the defensive guy that's lining up offsides, I do not want to go to the sidelines and have to face defensive coordinator and former Cibola head coach Sean Ware. Diaz just keeping the feet churning as he goes into the middle of the pile and gets down to the 6. That'll be a pickup of 3. And so Diaz, so far the workhorse, he's already got 16 carries on the night and 50 yards to show for it.
How about that? He's the guy. They're going to ride on his back as far as they can, and then they still got the ability to throw the football. And Cibola last time they were down close to the defense stiffened and did a good job. And which makes you think that Yuma might go to the play action and get the ball up in the air.
Wide out to each side, and I formation, still handoff to Diaz. Diaz is bumped at the line, still keeps going. He's close to the goal line, and he's finally brought down at the 1, and he was able to keep the feet churning and get a lot of yards after the catch, or a lot of yards after the initial hit, and finally had to be brought down by Tyler Greenwood.
That's one thing. If you hit the running back high, you've got him wrapped up, but you haven't contained his feet. So if the feet keep going, you're able to create that momentum, and the momentum carried him down close to the goal line. Third and goal. They've seen it before. They didn't get in last time. What happens here?
Well, you figure the Crims are still thinking 2-down territory, so third and goal for the moment. Hall will hand off. Matos is up end over end and still finds his way to get in for the touchdown. So after a steady diet of Diaz, all of a sudden, the fullback is the man to get across the goal line.
Well, the first goal line trip for the Crims, they really put it in the hands of Diaz. And, of course, Cibola's got everybody up in there trying to stop him, and they were successful. This time they say, we're close. Let's use Diaz as the decoy and give it to our big fullback. He rumbles into the end zone, and the Criminals strike first here in the second quarter.
Tito Rodriguez, not to jinx him, but he has been absolutely perfect so far this year. 2 for 2 in field goals, 9 for 9 in extra points. Ready to hold for him is Mick Megan, and the long snapper is Josh Hall. The snap, the set, the kick, they are all good. 7:28 remaining before halftime. And after a whole lot of offense, it took a while, but we finally got donuts off the board as the Crims take a 7-0 lead here in this Yuma City Championship game.
We got Coach Ware over there. He's going to get those defenders huddled up and say, look, it shouldn't be that easy. We gave them big-time yards on penalties and got them down knocking on the door. And, you know, you can bend and bend and bend, but enough opportunities given, they're going to punch it in sooner or later, and that's what the Criminals did. Nice drive for them. Good deal answering back after Cibola. So right now they're slugging it out, and the offenses have been very efficient both ways.
Well, you've also got to figure, too, that the defenses usually wear down faster than the offenses. The Raiders have also got to be a little bit worried about attrition towards the end of this first half because they've been on the field an awful long time each time that they've had to face the Crims offense.
Yeah, and there again in high school football, especially, you know, at this level, you've got a lot of kids that go both ways. And so they get knocked up and down the field, and when the ball travels the length of the field one way or the other, yeah, that's going to take its toll on people.
Well, we want to remind you that AWC football returns to the airwaves here on AWC TV a week from tonight. That will actually be Tuesday, November 1st, and once again, it will not be against the Pima Storm. The Pima Storm last week announced that they were forfeiting the remainder of their schedule. So AWC automatically gets a forfeit. Here is a short kick that's going to bound out of bounds, and very wisely calling for the fair catch, but not making the play is the Cibola Raiders so that they can get that extra field position as it bounds out of bounds at the 26.
They're trading sky kicks right now, so, you know, Cibola tried it. They tried the fair catch and got it. This time the ball just thundered out of bounds, and Cibola's going to be blessed with some good starting field position here. And their drive now, let's see how they counter after getting down 7-0.
So again, 7:28 remaining before halftime. And the Crims 2-0 in region play, trying to stay perfect and truly putting themselves in the driver's seat if they can win this game in the Gila Valley region race for the playoff. And the Raiders know it. The Raiders also perfect so far. They're 1-0 in their lone region game after beating Kofa 2 weeks ago. Pena under center to begin the drive at the 35. Handoff Hall. He's got a hole. Stutter step. Keeps on going. Almost gets the first down. And a first down saving tackle that time at the last minute by Daniel Sandoval. It's a pickup of 9.
Well, you can tell they get the ball in Hall's hands. He's more of an exciting runner. He's got that slash, and he's looking a little bit more open field than the Yuma High runner Diaz. But Josh Hall, you know, he's got a bright future. He's got 3 years to get this thing done.
And he's already quite busy on the yardage marker. 5 carries for Hall, already 70 yards, including that 52-yarder on the last drive to get him in the red zone. Hall in motion this time from left to right. Pena rolling that way, throwing. There's Hall right in midfield. Breaks one tackle and falls forward to the 47. The man bringing him down was Raul Sanchez, but still a good pickup and a first down.
Now, lucky RV, so he knows how to get the ball to his best player. And right now, Brandon Hall, you know, he's their best offensive threat. So, you know, line him up at the tailback, run him on the counter plays, stick him out and in a receiver position, and then motion him into a pattern and then delivering the ball that way. So, you know, what you want to do, it's just smart football. Get the ball into your players' hands, and you can do it. You know, you don't have to do it from one spot. Use a variety of ways to do that.
That's Pena's 4th completion in his first 5 attempts through the air. And that's the first time he's looked at Hall through the air. Here's a delayed draw to Hayworth, but it took too long to develop, and the Crims were right there to snuff it out. Nice play, and Eric Schaefer, the man to bring him down, and that'll be a loss of about a yard.
Looks like the defensive tackle, Bobby Abril, you know, came off his block and had just had enough sense to slow down the fullback. And there again, you're running that to your fullback, not to your quick running back, and then you got to pay the price there.
Well, and both times that they have taken Hall out of the ball game, they have run it to Hayworth, and I think right now they might have to think about putting it in the air just to kind of keep the defense honest. This time they're both in the ball game. Hall started one way, gets it going straight up the middle. He gets past the line of scrimmage, but then is stopped and stood up by John Matos right at the 46-yard line. It's a pickup of 2, but Hall had his sights on a lot more, and Matos swallowed him up.
Yeah, now they got back to that original line of scrimmage. They got third and just outside of 9 yards there to go. Probably a passing down for the Cibola Raiders here, and they've been pretty efficient through the air. But right now, Yuma's expecting pass, and we'll see how they defend that.
Front four for the Yuma Crims is Eric Schaefer and Zach Lemos on the weak side. Bobby Abril and Adam Suing on the strong side. In motion again is Hall, and again rolling that way is Pena. He looks, he throws, he's got a man at the 35, and it's a catch by Mandajano. Brought down by Edgar Gonzalez, but still that's a pickup of 13 yards and another first down for the Raiders, who are now starting to get their first downs through the air.
Well, they go 4 out, and they got 2 receivers on both sides. Bring Brandon Hall in motion, create a trips on the right side of the field, and then he kind of stays in, and they attracts attention. That allows 2 people in the route, and they throw it to the near guy. First down, Cibola, very well executed.
Second reception of the night for Efren Jr. Mandajano, and it's down to the 32-yard line of Yuma. Clock moving inside of 5 minutes to go in this first half. Handoff Hall. He's got a lot of room on the left side. He cuts inside right at the 30-yard line, and good containment that time by the Yuma Crims to make it a much shorter gain than it could have been, and it was Bobby Abril, the defensive tackle, that brought him down for a 2-yard gain.
Abril and Torrey Palacio there on the tackle. They try to run that counter now, just trying to get a little mix up in the backfield, get him going one way with the fullback, and then come back and hand it to Hall going the other way. And he tried to beat people to the perimeter, and it didn't happen, so good pursuit by the Crims.
4 linebackers is what the Crims go with. They go with a 4-4, and that's Torrey Palacio, Daniel Sandoval, John Matos, the returner, and Raul Sanchez. Now the play blown dead.
This time the Crims turn to line up offside, and it's an automatic call for the official on the line there. So you got to look at that football, make sure you're not, over the plane of it. And if you are, then it's going to cost you five yards. And the Yuma now is
and that could be a big penalty, considering Pena has looked very good through the air on 2nd and 2. He's got a lot of different options that he can use. There's only one wide out right now in the pattern and an I formation behind him, but he fakes the play action to Hall. He's got a lot of time. He's got a man, and it's right through the wickets. Jared Lackey was the intended receiver, but Josh Price was out there, and I think both guys weren't quite sure which one was supposed to be the intended receiver.
Just underthrew the tight end there, Jared Lackey, and then we got a late flag. There's a little bit of extracurricular activity as far as the linemen go, and I think that was a push from behind, going to send Cibola back and create a 3rd and long situation.
So it was 2nd and 2, and that looks like it's going to now make it 2nd and 12. 4:11 remaining before the intermission, and again a 7-0 Crims lead.
There again, Cibola had exactly what they wanted. They had the receiver open. They delivered the football just a little bit short, and the receiver wasn't able to adjust his route. So they're going to send him back here. And you're right, it's going to remain 2nd down. It's just going to be 2nd and 10+ yards to go.
And that also takes them out of any field goal range that they might think about. But once again, Mandajano has not been given a chance this year to kick a field goal, so it's now placed just outside the Yuma High 35-yard line.
There's that draw screen situation now, and you're probably looking for something to set up for number 8.
2 wideouts, both to the near side. Ryan Evangelista is in the slot. Handoff on the draw. Hall, big hole across the 30, down to the 26-yard line, and he gets almost all of that penalty back, so it'll set up 3rd and short.
They get the draw play, come back to their best runner, Brandon Hall. There again, get the ball in his hands in different ways, through the air, through the draw play, through the off-tackle running. And, he's a good-looking runner, and as a sophomore, he's got a bright future here in the Yuma area football.
Well, with Mandajano not really looking for field goals, you can think of this as 2-down territory. It's 3rd and about 3.5. The Raiders have to get to the Crims' 22-yard line. Handoff Hall, going left on the misdirection, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage, dropped at the 25. Once again, good coverage by the Crims. The first man to make the hit, once again, John Matos, who seems to be the man keying on Brandon Hall.
Did a nice job. Once you read the play, he penetrated into the offensive backfield, so didn't let him get a chance to get his wheels going. And you got to create that hit early in the possession there, and don't let them get through the line. So 4th and short, Cibola obviously going to go for it without the field goal capabilities. And big play here for the Yuma Crim defense.
Once again, they'll send both wideouts to the near side and an I formation with Price in front of Hall. 4th down and about 2.5. And now Pena, I think, trying to draw the Crims off sides, and he's going to be forced to burn the 2nd time out of the half for Cibola with 2:49 remaining. And now the question is, you still, I think, got to go for it.
Yeah, they come up with the hard count. You got timeouts to burn, so it's a smart play by Cibola. and they wave off the flag for the delay of game, saying that they got the timeout in before the clock ran out. They'll talk about it, but you know, it's going to be a go for it type situation, and there again, big play time for both sides.
So that leaves the Raiders with only one timeout. The Crims still have all three of theirs, and with 2:49 on the clock, you know the Crims are looking at this as, if we can stop them here, we've got a lot of time left on the clock to try and add to this lead. And also with 3 timeouts, it allows Robert Diaz to be able to do what he has to do.
Yeah, no question about it. So both teams will talk about it. Very well played first half. Had a couple miscues defensively. Got one long run given up and a couple penalties. But really, it's been pretty well played, and it's just both teams had chances to score, didn't get them. Then the second time around, Yuma got theirs. Cibola right now still trying to work for that score.
Crims cheerleaders throwing footballs into the audience, still trying to keep them pumped up like they need it here. And now as Pena breaks away from center, hold on. And I think the line judge says the Crims called a timeout. They did. So I think the Crims, I think Rhett Stallworth and Kerr Weber may have just wanted to see what kind of alignment the Raiders had offensively, because they had enough men on the field and they seem to be in their spots.
Yeah, cat and mouse. You know, now what's going to happen is Coach Stallworth's going to say, okay, this is what their look was. This is likely what you're going to see. And then over on the other side of the ball, Lucky Arvizo's got to decide, you know, do I want to change it? You know, because it could be one of those plays that's like, hey, this is our 4th and short play. You know, we're going to get it done here. But Yuma now has seen what the lineup is. They've called their timeout. And a little bit of cat and mouse going on here at Yuma High.
Well, Rhett Stallworth was the defensive coordinator from 1997 until 2 years ago, and he did it under 3 head coaches, including the man who is his current defensive coordinator right now, Kurt Weber. So they know a lot about defense, and of course they have seen this Cibola team so many times before. 4th and 3. Again, they got to get to the 22 on a play action. Pena has time. He throws. He's got a man. It's Lackey who tiptoes his way down the sidelines, bowls into the man, and pushes his way into the end zone. And it's a touchdown. Lackey on a 4th and 3 goes 25 yards for the score. And so much of that was Lackey after the catch.
Yards after the catch, and what happened was he kind of turned around to catch the football, and he was stopped. The momentum of the criminal defensive player flew by him, so he was able to get his feet and start up the field. And as he got close to the end zone, there was no stopping him. And Mick Megan was the last guy, and he got the blow that he got to get knocked over as the Cibola Raiders look to tie this game.
So Mondahano on for the extra point try. He's 18 for 20 this year. A short squibber that just gets through that right upright, and we are knotted up with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go before halftime. It's all tied. 7-7 between Yuma and Cibola in part 2 of this Yuma City Championship.
How about both teams, you know, success on their first drive but no points to show for it, and then come back on their second drive. Both teams get the ball again. Both teams get down the field, make some big plays, and get into the end zone. So right now it's just punch and counter punch. 2 of the heavyweights in the Gila Valley region fighting for the control of the league right now, and you can't say advantage either one right now because both teams have looked pretty well.
No, but again, the Crims offense, especially considering they've been able to move the ball well against the Raiders defense, they got to be licking their chops. Even though they burned that timeout on that 4th down play, they've still got 2 timeouts. They've still got 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Josh Hall right now is 4 for 5 through the air, and Diaz has been an absolute monster on the ground.
Oh yeah, and the best thing, both teams can go to the air when they need to, and that's what you like. You know, teams that become one-dimensional, you know, you can key on it and key on it and key on it, and eventually get it figured out and stop them. But you know, when you got the ability to go both ways and through the air and on the ground, yeah, it just makes for exciting football, and I think the fans are really enjoying what they're seeing right now as well.
It's been a thoroughly enjoyable game so far. Ellis Maskey and Edgar Gonzalez are the deep men, but they haven't gotten any business so far from Mondahano. Let's see if he kicks it away. No, he doesn't. And wait a minute, flags go down, and I think the Raiders were offsides, and I think that one has to be tagged on Mondahano because he took a little extra stutter step before he got to the ball, and I think it threw his line off.
Yeah, everybody kind of jumped the gun there, and you know, he's kind of taped up. They haven't walked him back just yet, so I'm not sure what the deal was.
Now, all of a sudden, the Raiders are heading back, so
Maldonado's going to go help him with the hanky, looks like. Or he's going to, oh, no, he's going to go talk to coach. So here's the football. They're going to walk him back 5 yards for the offside penalty. They're going to have to kick from the 35-yard line.
And And this only helps the Crims as far as their battle for field position, and it took no time off the clock. So now it backs up to the 35-yard line, and again, Mondahano has not shown any penchant for wanting to kick it deep. He's just trying for the little squib kick.
Like that sky kick, this may change the strategy, and they may try to kick it hard and low and hope it skips on the ground a little bit.
So Mondahano backing up about 12 yards or so. Now he approaches the football, and this time the Raiders make sure they stay behind it. Again, a short kick. Gonzalez coming up, almost runs into his own man, but calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 26-yard line. That was the deepest kick so far that Mondahano's had, but almost confusion that time between Edgar Gonzalez and his teammate Hector Valenzuela.
Yeah, it's a co-op catch now. They got it done. They got it done together, but really good field position for the Yuma Crims. They got plenty of time left in the half to move the football down. So right now it's all even up, and you just got to say this game has been played, as advertised. Two pretty good teams getting after it, and right now they've, it's been success on their last offensive drive, and now it's Yuma's turn.
Looks like kind of a favorable spot, too. They mark it at the 29, so a couple of extra yards, but Diaz gets no extra yards on this one as he is swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage, and a good spin around that time by Eric Schaefer, the defensive tackle, and then he got help from Adam Suing to bring him down for a no gain.
Bottom of the pile there, defensive tackle. On the other Hayworth now, you got Robbie Hayworth, probably the more sizable Hayworth of the two since he's on the line.
And I should correct that. You corrected me. Robbie Hayworth was actually the man to bring him down along with Michael Slodjek. So 2nd down and 10, and the clock is moving. They choose not to burn the timeout. Hall looking long. Hall's got a man down there, but it's also double coverage. It's incomplete. Complaining and wanting the flag is Trevor Mendez, but he didn't have the inside position, and the Raiders' defensive secondary had the right to go for the ball.
A little bit of a bump as they ran, but the ball was well overthrown, and, Cibola had that figured out, and what you try to do is you try to run a lot of people to the right side of the field and get the defense to flow that way. Then you come back and throw to the one man on the backside, which was Mendez, and but Cibola had it sniffed out and well covered.
And now all of a sudden it becomes interesting strategy because it's 3rd and 10 for the Crims. If they can't convert here, the Raiders have got 2 minutes, a little less than 2 minutes to do something with the ball. Josh Hall on the rollout now fakes away one tackler. He's got some room. He's trying to get close to the 1st down marker, and I think he's got it as he's finally pushed out of bounds. Slodjek making the tackle along with Keyshawn Williams, the cornerback. And the forward progress is going to get across the 40, so that'll be enough to move the chains, and that also stops the clock going out of bounds with 1:49.
Well, he did a nice job of shaking somebody out there on the perimeter and buying him quite a bit of yards. So Yuma High gets the 1st down, gives them, a couple more shots. What happened to them on the last series, they just didn't have success on 1st down, and this time they're hoping to get better success on 1st down.
All under center, and the lone back behind him is the fullback Matos. 3 wideouts, and the flags go down again, or I should say the clock is stopped, and Cibola is going to burn their last timeout. So this is kind of interesting strategy. Apparently Sean Ware saw something in the formation he didn't like.
Yeah, he's letting them know. He's letting his defensive backs know about it right now. So, you got the luxury of as coaches to call the timeout from the sideline. That may have what happened there because they took a look and said, ooh, we got some sort of mismatch, and we're just not going to put up with that. So they're going to get out and talk to their players. And Yuma there again, they went for the big play, didn't get it, but fortunate with a mobile quarterback makes the move to get the 1st down and out of bounds to stop the clock. So Yuma High's still got a couple cracks at scoring here before half runs out.
Well, next week for the Yuma Crims, they will head back out on the road and also finish up their non-conference schedule as they'll head up to the Phoenix area, and they'll take on Deer Valley next Friday night. But the Cibola Raiders will stay in conference play, and they will go back home. They'll face off against the Sidewinders of San Luis High School at Raider Field next Friday night at 7. Hall under center after the timeout on 1st and 10 at the 40. He looks deep, has all kinds of time. Now he goes for it all. He's got a man wide open, and the catch is made. And breaking the tackle and on his way into the end zone is none other than Ellis Maskey, a 60-yard touchdown strike. And there were 2 Raiders down there, but they couldn't bring Maskey down.
Ellis Maskey had him beat early. He had the quarterback beat way early, and I thought he might have outrun quarterback Josh Hall. Hall was trying to get a grip on the ball. He kind of re-gripped, and then I just didn't think he was going to make it that far with the throw. He chucked it a long ways, and he had to, Maskey had to wait for the ball, but once he caught it, though, he was too excited. He wanted to get into that end zone, and Big play for the Yuma Crims with 1:39 left in the half.
And Maskey's not one of those guys that Josh Hall normally looks for, but they sent Maskey deep, and as you said, Maskey had a good 3 or 4 steps on the defense, but had to wait on the ball. Tito Rodriguez on for the extra point. The snap, the set, the kick, it's up, it's good. Minute 39 remaining on the clock, and the Crims go into the air to take back the lead 14-7.
Air Hall, he aired that thing out. I mean, he threw that ball a long ways. I just didn't think there was any chance he could reach Maskey because he needed to throw it a little bit sooner, and he would have caught him in stride. But you know what? He showed some arm strength there, got the ball. Once it was caught, though, he broke a tackle, did a good job of getting himself into the end zone, and the Yuma Crims strike deep, and they go up 14-7.
And would you believe that's actually Ellis Maskey's first catch of the season, and it's a 60-yard touchdown strike.
Well, he had one-on-one coverage, and what he did, he ran just a simple post route, and boy, when he broke to the post, the defender he kind of got caught up in his feet, and that enabled him to get some clearance. And so once he got that, he was open then, but there was still a couple seconds before the ball got delivered. What he did that was nice was he kept running. And I mean, I thought he might have outrun the throw, but really that enabled him to get enough separation for the ball to hang up there, and he went and caught it and finished the play for the touchdown.
The only bad part about the 60-yard strike is the fact that still leaves a minute 39 on the clock for the Raiders. But remember, the Raiders now have to be chastising themselves because they have no timeouts left.
No timeouts, minute 39. Criminals scored on their last 2 possessions.
Rodriguez following suit with another short kick. This bounds through a couple of Raiders and is finally down by Brandon Hall at the 30-yard line. And Hall wanted to start running with it because he wasn't the man who made the fair catch call.
I don't quite get that. I guess if one person fair catches, then they all fair catch. That must be the call there. So you can't advance it once the hand goes up in the air. So basically, teach your receivers, stick the hand up in the air if you're not sure. That way, all we got to do is secure the football.
So 29-yard line is where they'll place it for the Raiders. Again, no time taken off the clock because of the fair catch, so they still have 99 seconds to try and go 71 yards to tie this. Raiders have never led, and they trail 14-7. Again, I formation, 2 wideouts to the near side, and Pena on the play action will dump it to Hall. Hall eludes one tackler. He's got room. 30, 40, cuts inside, goes against the green. He's to midfield. Finally dumped down at the 44-yard line. Guess who? John Matos with another saving tackle, but that is a huge gain of 27 yards and a big first down.
Well, you can punch, but here comes the counter punch, and Josh Hall is the counter punch. I mean, or Brandon Hall, right? You get number 8 in the play. They set up the screen for him out there. He shakes one tackler, good blocking, and then he matriculates the ball up the field. They're inside criminal territory.
Raiders quickly up to the line with 4 wideouts. Trips right. Pena with time. Pena with a receiver. It's Jared Lackey at the 31. Oh. He slips down as he tries to cut inside of Raul Sanchez, and he's brought down at the 29, and Lackey is in pain and is still down on the field.
Yeah, if he catches it and goes out of bounds, I mean, the clock stops as they do the chains anyway, but, sometimes, it could be a variety of things that happen to him. He hit the brakes. He wanted to try to go backwards and stay in the play, but he kind of slipped and fell, and, we're hoping the best for him, but he made a nice play, a nice catch, and Cibola coming right back at the Criminals and said, you got the big play on us. We're going to throw 2 big plays at you right now, and then they're in striking distance again.
Well, Lackey was in a lot of pain, and they were really calling quickly to get Therese Woolner, the trainer, out to the near sideline as he made the play right in front of the Yuma Crims sideline. And so now they're having to help Lackey up to his feet. And Lackey is not going to be able to go off under his own power. Not sure which leg it is. I think he made the cut on the left leg.
Yeah, basically, I mean, he planted both feet in an effort to stop and stay in play, and then the cleats get caught in the ground there, and so you just don't know what's going to happen. But basically, he's walking off under his own power, so that's the good news. And he's going to get tough now and jog off a little bit. So he's going to get a big hand from the Cibola crowd right there after making a big catch and leading his team to a first down inside the 30-yard line.
Lackey, the leading receiver on the season and so far on the night. He's got 3 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown for the Raiders.
Nothing like having a big, strong tight end that can catch the football.
29-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Raiders, and the clock now moving inside of a minute. Again, no timeouts for the Raiders. Pena going for it all. He's got a man down there, up for grabs, and knocked away at the last minute, incomplete. Intended receiver was Bud Shaw, but Ellis Maskey, who was the hero on the offensive side, was the man to step in front of Shaw and knock it away.
Bud Shaw made a great play to prevent the interception. The ball was just underthrown. He had pretty good time, but Maskey had great defense, got inside. He had position to catch the ball for an interception, and then Bud Shaw comes back and says, "Now we're going to get another crack here." Just good football we're watching right now, Jim.
Very entertaining game. 4 wideouts, 3 to the far side. Pena rolls that way. He looks again, throwing long. This one's underthrown. This one's picked off by Raul Sanchez, and he'll be pushed down and out of bounds at the 26-yard line to stop the drive with 39.5 seconds remaining. And remember, the Crims still have 2 timeouts. I'm sure that Rhett Stallworth's going to want to take a couple of shots down the field.
Well, you know what happens is you get concerned about getting into the end zone, but sometimes you got to throw underneath. They're playing back. They're keeping everything in front of them, and that was just a tale of trying to make something happen that wasn't there. You know, sometimes you want to get the ball underneath those guys and let your players run a little bit.
And that ball fluttered out of the hand of Armando Pena, and it was doomed from the start. So now Hall under center. Let's see. They've still got 40 seconds, but they're going to concede it. Hall down to a knee. He's going to have to take one more knee before the end of the half. So it looks like the Crims are going to be content to have a 7-point lead going into the locker room.
Well, that's good, smart football. I mean, you got the lead. You've been playing well. Don't let some sort of mishap or unfortunate accident happen, and it gives the Cibola a little bit of life. So they had their crack. They didn't come up short. Go in at halftime. You're up 7, and you're playing excellent football, and then you're feeling pretty good about things.
So again, the tight formation. Hall will go down to a knee, and that'll do it. Again, the Raiders can't stop the clock. So, as Patrick has said, an immensely entertaining half of football. This is everything that you would want a Yuma City championship to be, and it has been just that and more for the first 24 minutes of play, and this should be a whale of a second half. We're going to take a break and come back. Halftime here at Doane Field on the campus of Yuma High School. Here's your score. The Yuma Criminals 14, the Cibola Raiders 7. You're watching the Yuma City Championship on AWC TV. Getting ready for the second half of this special edition of Matador Madness. Game 2 of the Yuma City Championship. The Cibola Raiders trying to win the cup for the first time since 2002 and trying to knock off the defending city champion, the Yuma Crims, but at halftime it is 14-7. Yuma on top of Cibola, and Jim Howe and Patrick Cunningham back here at Doane Field on the campus of Yuma High School. I think we couldn't draw it up much better, Patrick, for entertainment as far as this game went in the first half.
Yeah, what a well-played game by both sides. I mean, there's a couple penalties here and there, but both teams have shown that they can move the ball offensively. Both teams have been able to stiffen defensively a little bit, and you know, you just like to see the cat and mouse that's going on between the coaches, and they've got great game plans, and they're getting things done out there. So you know, Cibola was disappointed there at the end of the half. They threw the interception, they went for it. You know, but they're going to halftime. They're telling their kids, look, we get the ball to start the second half. So, hey, let's come out with that next drive, tie things up, and we'll get back into it. So, you know, just an all-around well-played game so far, and you're going to see probably more of the same in the second half.
Well, and the high-profile guys that have gotten each team to where they are now at 4-3 overall and each undefeated in conference have so far shown very brightly. Mr. Diaz, as they probably call him around campus here, Robert Diaz, has been an absolute monster. 18 carries for 54 yards, but I don't think that really shows what he has accomplished on the offensive side of the ball for Yuma.
Oh, no question. I mean, his runs have been very effective, and, you know, by saying that, it gets some positive yardage on first down. You know, his average isn't great, but his runs have been effective enough to open things up, and you've got to account for him, which has enabled Yuma to get one-on-one situations with their wide receivers, and has created some big plays in that sense.
And on the other side of the ball, it's been the quickness of rusher Brandon Hall for Cibola that has gotten the Raiders close, and then it has been Armando Pena and Jared Lackey finishing it off.
Yeah, and you hope Jared Lackey comes back after injuring himself there late in the first half. But Brandon Hall, I mean, he's something special now, just a sophomore, and they're finding ways to get him the ball, not only in the backfield but out in the pass routes. And you know what you want. If number 8's carrying the ball for you, you got to like your chances.
Well, in that first half, both of the quarterbacks very effective. Pena, 8 of 13 through the air, 115 yards. He had the touchdown pass to Jared Lackey that put Cibola on the board. He also had that one interception, though, that was picked off deep in Yuma territory, but he has been impressive. And on the other side of the ball, Josh Hall, 5 of 7 through the air, but 127 yards and a big touchdown to the guy who has been kind of the forgotten guy. Hasn't gotten a lot of press so far this season, but Ellis Maskey has right now got his name on the tips of the tongues of everybody on the home sideline.
Yeah, he's made plays offensively with the long touchdown catch, and then he comes back defensively and knocks a touchdown away from the Cibola Raiders. So he's getting it done on both sides of the ball. And like I say, that long touchdown pass, Maskey had the defender beat early in the route, and I just thought he might have outrun it. But wow, what a throw by Josh Hall! And the catch and the run and the score for Yuma. They're going to come out here in the second half. They're going to have to defend. And Cibola should be getting the ball first.
How much pressure do you put on this opening drive if you're Cibola, trailing by 7 and really wanting to come out and make an initial good impression?
Well, you don't want the whole game balance to be decided in that first drive, but your players got to understand, look, let's continue to do the things that we did in the first half because we moved the ball. We had chances to score. We just came up short there at the end of the half, but you got to like the success that they've had moving the football, and so no reason to panic. Even if you don't get what you want out of that first drive, you don't abandon the game plan just because you're down by 7 points. You're well within reach, and just keep doing the things that you did in the first half that were successful.
As you said, the defense has stiffened up towards the goal line, but when you were talking between the 20s, they were pushed around pretty good. What defensive adjustments do you suggest they make?
Yeah, well, inside the 20s, both teams that's where they committed their penalties. So, that's one thing. Don't give them extra chances. And so you want, you're stiffening up, and what you got to do is be a little bit more disciplined there toward the goal line. And I think the other thing for Cibola is number 4 going to play. Is Jared Lackey going to get out there and play this half? Because if he is, then your game plan can kind of stay how it is. But if he's not available, that may change things a little bit for Cibola.
Well, and just gazing at the far sideline, I don't see anybody wearing number 4, and so for the moment, Jared Lackey appears to still be in the locker room. And as you said, that could be a big blow considering Lackey has been the leading receiver on the night, has the lone touchdown pass, and also is the leading receiver for Armando Pena on the season.
Yeah, and plus he's at the tight end position. He's one of those guys that helps spring the running back, Brandon Hall, to get him yards. So, definitely would be a tough situation for Cibola.
Now I see Jared Lackey, and he is actually walking and doesn't appear to be limping. He's trying to make sure that he's still got some steam on that left ankle that it appeared that he turned. Meanwhile, another short kick for Tito Rodriguez. Fair catch called for right at the 34-yard line by Cibola's Calvin Stover. So good field position for the Raiders. And it seems like both teams really don't care about giving good field position. It's what they do after that.
Yeah, they're content with giving up field position, but they're taking away the big play, the big emotional lift that you get from a long touchdown run or a long kickoff return. So, plus, like we said, a lot of these kids play both ways. All it does is kind of saves your players a little bit and allows them to get ready and just start a nice defensive possession.
So Armando Pena brings them out. I formation to start off the third quarter, and both wide receivers to the near sideline. Delayed draw, and this time Brandon Hall doesn't have any kind of a hole to run through, and he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. He's swallowed up there by Eric Schaefer.
Nothing doing on the draw play. First time out there again. You talked about success on first down. Didn't happen for Cibola here. They may end up putting the ball in the air.
That was Hall's 10th carry of the night. He's got 84 yards unofficially. Does not have a touchdown yet. 3 wideouts this time on 2nd down and 10. Pena with a deep drop, throws. He's got a man, and it's caught right at the 46-yard line, and a nice play by Bud Shaw to shield the defender and also make sure that he had enough for the first down.
Yeah, I think that's where they missed on right there at the end of the half. They were going for the end zone, trying to throw over the criminal defense, but the criminal defense was keeping people in front of them. And they had enough time to throw up a route like that and get themselves a little bit closer. So, coming back to what they did well in the first half, and they're moving the chains.
Crims have done a good job of taking Bud Shaw out of the offense. He's the second leading receiver on the Raiders. That's his first catch of the night for 12 yards. Handoff Hall, big hole. He's tripped up as he gets across midfield, and a great play that time. If Bobby Abril doesn't make the tackle, Hall is running forever.
Yeah, he was just getting the wheels to begin to churn and turn, and And if Eberl doesn't come in and knock him on his keister there, he's probably off for several more yards.
Pickup of 5, so it'll be 2nd down and 5 as the clock moves. We've played a minute and a half here at Doane Field, and we sure want to thank Mike Sharp, the athletic director of Yuma High School, as well as Jeff Megan, the principal, for their hospitality while we've been here at Yuma High. Play action. A lot of time. He's got a man, but the pass is tipped, intended for Mandahano. Nice play by Mick Megan, or I should say Adam Sewing, as he was just following along the line of scrimmage, looking at Pena's eyes and waiting for him to pick his spot.
Yeah, junior Mandahano, he was open now running the out route, but would you tell your people up front, look, you know, when you see the quarterback ready to throw, get those hands up, mano arriba, and knock that football down, and that's exactly what happened.
So 3rd down and a long 5. They've got to get to the 43-yard line of the Crims to extend the drive. Pena, quick drop, throws, and pass Mandahano. And Pena very alertly, and you don't normally see this in a young quarterback, he looked to the right to try and freeze the defense, and he threw to his left. Mandahano was there, but unfortunately Pena threw a little bit behind him.
A little behind him, and Junior had run the route, but he wasn't quite. He didn't have good timing on it, so the ball was there a little quicker than Junior was expecting it, and that caused the incompletion.
Well, this is the first time that we have seen a drive stall tonight, so Bud Shaw is standing at his own 39 for the first time to punt it away, and back deep for the Yuma Crims is Mick Megan. Good snap, no pressure at all, and this one's off the side of the foot of Bud Shaw. It takes a good Raiders bounce. It bounced at the 21. It's going to roll all the way inside the 10 down to the 8-yard line, and so Shaw's kick wasn't the prettiest in the world, but it still is able to net 44 yards.
Well, that ball just had eyes. It said, you know, I'm not going to roll out of bounds, so I'm going to make the criminals work for what they get. So we talked about it. Cibola's first drive stalls. You know, how do they respond next time they get the ball? Yuma's saying, you know, look, we got a chance to stretch it here, so they're hoping to get a steady diet of what they've been going for. You know, probably Robert Diaz, and then come back and balance things out with the pass.
Pressure is now on the Raiders' defense. They certainly don't want to fall behind by more than one score. Almost 2 minutes gone by, third quarter. Crims with the ball on a 14-7 lead. Handoff Diaz. Diaz is stood up as he gets a couple of yards close to the 10. He'll be brought down after a 1-yard gain. Diaz now with 19 carries in the ball game for 55 yards.
He is a workhorse, getting it done for the Criminals. Like we said, the average isn't big, but his runs have been effective. This one stopped short by the Cibola defense, so looking for maybe play action. The ball could go up in the air here.
Diaz, his longest run of the season, 60 yards, but he hasn't rambled more than 15 on any carry, but he gets good yardage this time. A big hole off right tackle. Finally, it's Evangelista bringing him down at the 20. That's a pickup of 11 and a first down.
A little different look now. They split the backs in the backfield. They run their off-tackle play, but it's not out of the I formation. So, you know, gives Cibola a little bit of a different look, a new way to get him going. And there again, effective running by number 4, Robert Diaz.
John Matos takes a breather, heads to the sidelines. He's replaced by Daniel Sandoval. Again, Diaz, the deep back, on 1st and 10. He'll get the ball straight up the middle, and now, wait a minute, play is blown dead.
Looked like movement by the Criminals, and that's going to push him back 5 yards.
Well, and penalties weren't much of a factor, especially on this part of the field. It really was only a factor once they started getting close to the red zone and the defense started getting a little nervous. But this time it's the offense to jump, and that's the first time we've seen actually a motion penalty on the offense tonight. So 1st and 15. Ball just inside the Yuma Crims 15-yard line, and the clock now moving inside of 9 minutes remaining third quarter. Hall, 3-step drop, throws, he's got a man. It's caught by Mendez at the 20, breaks one tackle, goes to the 25, bumped out of bounds at the 30. Evangelista again had to finish off the play depending on the spot. Mendez might have the first down, and he got 10 yards after the catch.
Well, that was 5 on 5 at the end of the play now. 5 for Cibola, gets the crack on number 5, Trevor Mendez, but you know what? He made the one guy miss that he needed to, got him those extra yards, and now they're back to that 3rd and short situation, or 2nd and short, so it's just like having a nice big first down play. I think they're going to stop this thing and give it a measure. They'll bring those chains across the field, though. That's all you're asking for. There again, Cibola has to respect the running of Robert Diaz, so what they do is they stack more people in the box, they call it. You know, they get 8 up there to stop the run. It leaves one-on-one coverage on your receivers. You don't want to get beat deep. It's happened before in the first half, so they got to give them more cushion and so the receiver can drive that cornerback off, and he turns around, and it's all about timing. He catches it, and now he's got a little bit of room and timing to make somebody miss, and that's what he did. So then you buy yourself a little bit of extra yards there. So, good play calling by Yuma High, and just taking advantage of what the defense gives them.
You see the Crims applauding. The measurement is true for Yuma. It's 15 yards exactly and a first down. So they'll have it at the 30-yard line. Referees getting everything set before they start play up again. Again, it was an out-of-bounds play, so the clock stopped with 8:45 remaining. Hall under center, wide out to each side. I formation behind him. He'll hand off to Diaz. Diaz had a hole, but it disappeared quickly. Falls forward to the 33-yard line. And that time it was snuffed out very quickly by Michael Slajek, the defensive end.
And there again, Yuma likes that I formation, so they get him in the tailback position, and then they just run a power play off the off tackle there to the left side this time. The biggest run of the half so far has been when they split the backs. Same play, but out of a different formation.
Well, and it looks like when they go off tackle, the Raiders are starting to be a little less anxious, and so they're anticipating a little bit better. Here's a play-action rollout. He's got a man, and it's Matos with a lot of room. 50, 40, 30. He's got one man to beat and catching him from behind. Down to the 23-yard line, and a flag comes in. And I think it was that little extra push from Pedro Figueroa after he made the tackle that's going to cost the Raiders an extra 15.
Well, I don't know, boy. You got to like it when the big fella gets the football. Matos, if your fullback can catch the ball, that's kind of a good deal. It's an extra plus for you, and he gets it. He's rumbling down the field, and he doesn't have the speed to break it, but you know what? Doesn't matter. He's put his football team in a position to score another touchdown.
And Matos has done a lot of the little things tonight on both offense and defense, and remember, he scored the first touchdown of the ball game. So it's all the way down to the 24-yard line. The play goes 43 yards. But on the penalty, the Crims are going to get some extra yardage, and I think that'll move it half the distance down to the 12.
Well, that's unfortunate. There again, Cibola, as the ball gets closer to the red zone, that seems to be where they make their defensive penalty-type errors, and they've had two. They've had a face mask in the first half, and then here's a personal foul at the end of the play, and you just don't want to give them extra yards and put them any closer. Yuma hasn't had to work as hard for their touchdown. The first touchdown they had, and they're in a situation here now where they're getting aided half the distance to the goal and a chance to make a first down without going in the end zone.
Well, they also have to be thinking in terms of trying to make it so it's a two-score ball game, and Tito Rodriguez does have the leg for something of this distance. First down, handoff Diaz, stutter step inside the 10, close to the 7, and he just kind of leapfrogs over Figueroa. And Brandon Chavez also helped finish the play, but a good pickup of 5 on first down.
Yeah, he did a nice job like we talked about. He's not hitting the hole, with a bang, but what he's being patient. As a running back, if you're patient, as things open up, then you accelerate and go. So he did a nice job of picking and choosing, and then finishing things off and getting himself going forward.
And that's something that so few people really talk about and emphasize, is the fact that the running back always complements the line, but the running back has to let the line get the time to do their work sometimes. There's no work that time. Figueroa is the man to bring down Diaz behind the line of scrimmage. That's a loss of 2, and that's a big loss, setting up 3rd and long.
Pedro comes through, basically run blitzes into the play, guessed right through the gap that was the one that he needed to get to the running back, so throws him for a loss, 3rd down. Big play for Cibola here, because really, if you give up 3, you got to feel pretty good about yourself, and then you're hoping to get the Criminals out of the end zone.
7 yards for a first down, 9 yards for a touchdown on 3rd down. Hall with a wide out to each side, and backs in the eye. Hand off Diaz, straight up the middle. He's got a hole, but he stood up right at the 4-yard line. Great play by the Raider defense. And that's going to set up 4th and short. And I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Slajek or Figueroa, but Diaz had a full head of steam and just got stood up at the 4.
He did. He really, and he didn't try to dance. He didn't try to spin. He had 2 hands on the football, which is wise. Secure the ball, give your team a chance, another shot at the end zone there, and it's going to be 4th down, and Yuma's going to go for it.
There's no question they're going to go for it. Mick Megan, who brought in the play, lines up as a wide out to the far side. It's 4th and 2. Long count for Hall. Handoff, fullback, Matos pushing forward. He's close to the first down. He's close to the goal line before he's pushed back. I think it's going to depend on the spot, and looking from the far side, I'm not sure they have it.
Boy, it's close, but the big thing is they can get the first down. So You know, they're in a position that they didn't have to get to the end zone. So then the other thing was Josh Hall becomes the decoy in the situation. They scored their touchdown with the fullback running the ball down there, and then they try to do that again, and they're going to measure here, and it's going to be close. Now this is a big play. If Cibola holds them, they kept them out of the end zone, and no field goal would be something that you'd think about for Yuma down the road maybe.
Well, and the Raiders did this on the opening drive for the Crims in the first half. Now trying to hold serve here in the second half, and they're short. The Raiders held them up. So once again, an impressive Crims drive bogs down inside the 5.
Now the ball, it was a first down.
Was it enough?
Yeah, it was a first. It was a football length ahead of the stick there. So
my mistake. So Hall, first and goal at the 2, and the Raider defense now has to stiffen. Matos going for his second touchdown of the game. The line judge is looking, no signal yet, and he's going to be short.
Now he got buried as he grabbed the football, so he didn't get. You know, they're going to the big fella. He's pounding his chest saying, come on now, give me the ball again, give me the ball. He's feeling it. So he had the big play with the pass reception and run, and he's wanting to get into that end zone again.
But this is also one of those times you got to kind of give your workhorse some love, and Robert Diaz hasn't had a chance to get in the end zone yet.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Pena taking himself either. They're that close.
At the 1, second and goal. Hall to Matos. Matos again pushing. No signal yet. Touchdown. And the strength, especially the lower body strength of John Matos, able to just push it in, and he needed all of his 230 pounds to get that one across the plane.
Well, plus you had Robert Diaz back there playing Reggie Bush, you know, and giving him a little shove from behind. So once they got the momentum going
that's
forward,
not legal, is it?
Yeah. Once they got the momentum going, he got himself into the end zone. So good for him. He had the big play. Yuma up 2 scores now. It's going to be interesting to see how Cibola reacts to that.
And every single time the Crims are able to put together a drive, it's a long and extended drive, and they are very effective at taking time off the clock. They took over 5 minutes off the clock with that drive, and so Tito Rodriguez on to try and finish it off. McMegan holding. Snap is good, the set is good, but the kick is blocked. And the Raiders, and once again, Pedro Figueroa was one of the all-stars for the Raider defense on that drive, and on special teams, he stops it. That could be huge down the line.
Vote for Pedro. Pedro's the guy that came in and got it done, so, you know, he blocks the extra point. First one, I think, this year that they didn't get converted.
Absolutely.
And, maybe that'll spark the Cibola offense. They need to come out and, you know, they can move the football, but they're just having trouble getting things closed out in the end zone.
So with 5:03 remaining here in the third, again, for the first time, the Crims have a lead of more than one score, as it's now 20-7. But again, that 21st point is big, and as you mentioned, that's the first time in 12 extra point attempts that Tito Rodriguez has not been able to convert it, and that certainly wasn't his fault.
No question, yeah, it was a line malfunction, allowing Pedro to come in and get his big old body in front of the football and knocked it clean. So here's another kickoff, though. You can't say there's much exciting about these sky kicks.
Yeah,
right now.
I don't know if I'd use the term kick off. It's more like kick up.
Kind of concede and put your defense on the field. So we'll see what happens. Sometimes they might try to lull you to sleep and then boom it deep or squib it, and it's just a matter of time. Yuma up 2 scores now. You know, you may want to try to catch them by surprise.
Danny Hayworth is standing at the 9, and Brandon Hall is standing at the 15. Neither one of them is going to get a chance to look at the football, as even Rhett Stallworth punched the ball as it went out of bounds. But it goes out of bounds at the 28, and they'll move it up to the 35. So once again, the Raiders with good field position. But bottom line, now you start feeling the pressure. If you're the Cibola offense, you need points.
Yeah, you got to get the ball in the end zone. You can move the ball all over the field, but you got to get it in the end zone. That's the end result of these things, and Yuma so far has been successful doing that. Cibola has been able to drive the football, but they can't get the thing in the end zone.
And that's also the tough question for Lucky Arvizo. Arvizo says, I have full confidence in Mondahano as my kicker, but the fact that he has not attempted a field goal yet, that also limits your chances when you get down to the red zone. Big hole for Brandon Hall. Breaks one tackle, steps inside of another, into Yuma territory, down to the 44-yard line. I think we might have a face mask penalty at the end of the play, but that's a huge pickup to start it off on first down, 21 yards.
Just great running by Brandon Hall. Once he kind of got into the line, he cut back against the grain, and then he just weaved in and out of criminal defenders. So it's going to be a penalty on Cibola at the end of this thing, but it should give them a first down and it's just not going to be as big a gain as what they had hoped for.
Illegal block, and the bad part about it is that was truly at the very end of the play. It really wasn't necessary, not that any penalty is, but that was one that really wouldn't have affected the outcome no matter what.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Brandon Hall springing that big run, so they're going to walk it back. But Cibola, they're not going to lay down right now. They showed some resolve there, and they came back and had a nice big play to start this drive.
So it'll back it up into Raider territory, but again, the play was good enough for a first down. So the Raiders have it first at the 46-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10, and the clock begins to move. Exactly 5 minutes remaining here in quarter number 3. Play action fake, and a good play action. Pena's got all kinds of time, but there's nobody open, and he throws it right to Adams Suing for an interception. The second interception of Pena tonight, and the Crims have got it 1st and 10 the other way at the Cibola 46.
Well, Pena hung in there as long as he could, and tried to throw a strike. He took a shot right at the end of the play there, and but just made a bad decision. Sometimes if you don't think you got anything, you might want to just throw it away. It's first down, live to play another down, but now it's time for Yuma to think about putting this game away with a score.
And I think that's one of those situations where Pena felt like he had to throw it even though there was nobody open. You really have to credit the defense downfield and the coverage by the Yuma Criminals. Diaz, a good hole on the left side on 1st and 10. He'll get good yardage, 4-yard pickup before Figueroa. And with getting help from Keyshawn Williams to finish off the play, it'll be 2nd down and about 5.5.
Keyshawn gets him low, stops those wheels from turning, then vote for Pedro. He comes in and knocks him from the top side and buries him into the turf. But there again, effective running does a lot for your offense. It gives you a lot of opportunities elsewhere.
Now they've got to hurry. The Raiders only had 10 guys on the field. So now Hall snapping the ball very wisely in a big hole again for Diaz. He's close to first down yardage as he's brought down at the 36-yard line. And the Raiders, Danny Hayworth in particular, realized it with about 5 seconds before the play was actually called to get somebody on the field, and scrambling very quickly was Brandon Chavez. But when he came on the field, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, he was snapping his headgear on as Yuma was snapping the football. So quarterback Josh Hall is saying, come on, let's get that play in there. Let's get going. So number 2 runs onto the field, T.J. Gardner. And Yuma may end up taking a timeout here because I think the play clock's running down.
Well, and they're also setting the chains, which helps the Crims a little bit. And they have not given them a first down yet, and I think they're going to say they're short.
A little bit short. You can just see the step, the criminal step. They got a little bit more umph to their step right now, and Cibola's kind of shaking their head saying, hey, what happened here? That things are starting to get away from them. They're hoping to get a stop.
T.J. Gardner goes to the sideline as Edgar Gonzalez will bring in the play. Gonzalez will line up as a wide out along with Trevor Mendez, both to the near side, but 3rd and short, you know who's getting it. And Diaz with a big hole. First down and a lot more inside the 30 down to the 28-yard line. And you got to credit the left side of the line. Montana McClanahan and Eric Schaefer opened up a big hole in good containment.
And Diaz he just gets it and says, all right, where am I going next? You're going to send me to the right side or the left side? And, it doesn't show a whole lot of emotion. You just got to like him. He's just a workhorse. He gets it done. And, he's ready to take it again. He's got the lunchbox, and he's getting it figured out there.
27th carry of the night, and we're still in the 3rd quarter for Robert Diaz. 1st and 10. Fake the handoff this time. Hall looking. He's got room. Now he's got pressure. Throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Megan. And Hall never saw the end of that pass as he was buried into the turf. And that time it was Robbie Hayworth to finish that off. It's incomplete.
Anytime you can get pressure on the quarterback and rush his throw a little bit, that always helps out the rest of your defenders out there. So cause him to throw the ball out of bounds, errant throw. And Cibola now looking at a 2nd and 10 defensively. They're just trying to get that stop because they're probably out of field goal range here.
But also look at the respect that the Raider defense was giving, because Hall, when he rolled out, had all kinds of real estate because they were stacking it in the box expecting something from Diaz. Here's a 3-step drop. Quick throw to Mendez at the 24. He's tackled immediately. Keyshawn Williams, the man to finish it off. Forward progress to the 23. It'll bring up 3rd and 5.
There again, it's one-on-one coverage, so Keyshawn Williams has to respect that, and he's got to be able to get into his drop and not give up the long ball for the touchdown. So, what you do is you push him off and Trevor Mendez does a good job of starting his route out, pushing the defender off, and then coming back, and then good timing on the throw.
Third catch of the night for Mendez. Again, a three-step drop. He's got a man, but it's a low throw, and I think it's incomplete. Yeah, they're going to say that it hopped up into the arms of Edgar Gonzalez, so that'll bring up 4th and 5, and I think you're probably looking at going for it again. I don't see Tito Rodriguez come onto the field yet.
Megan's in, but he's a wideout. He's the holder, but Megan's a wide receiver as well. So it's 4-down territory. You're up 2 scores. Cibola's got a ways to go if you don't make it, so you might as well go for it.
Wide out to each side. They have to get to the 18-yard line. Another three-step drop. Hall throws, and it's caught by Mendez. First down yardage down to the 15. Keyshawn Williams was right there, but just a step slow, and that was a nice design play that was well run and well thrown.
Picking on Keyshawn a little bit. This time he does. He gets some closure, and but he's still not there in time, and it's just a matter of good timing between Trevor Mendez and his quarterback Josh Hall. They've got really good rhythm right now, and as a result, the defender is just not able to get himself in a position to knock the ball away.
Krim's back in the red zone, and again handing it off to Diaz, but Diaz saw his line get stood up in front of him, and he just bowled into the middle of it and got bounced back right at the line of scrimmage, no gain.
The ball is trying to stiffen here. There again, the yards become tougher to get inside the 20-yard line. Defenses are a little bit better. They're more in tune with what's going on as far as the run, and there's usually more people in the box. Got an injured Cibola Raider right now on the field, and as we get the trainers out to look at him, can't tell which number it is right now, but the helmet's off, and he seems to be complaining about something. So they've got him up. It looks like he's got cramps, so they're gonna get him stretched out.
And that shouldn't be any surprise to anybody who has watched this game that the defense would start cramping up. They have been on the field a long time on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and chances are, you got kids playing both ways in special teams, and it takes its toll. No question about it. So right now, you got second and an opportunity for a first down, 2nd and 10 for most part at the 15-yard line for the Yuma Criminals. They got to feel real good about how things are going for them right now. They're moving the ball at will for the most part, and then defensively they've come up with the interceptions when they've needed them. So you got to think about containing Brandon Hall, but Cibola comes out. They tried to throw on first down, and it seems like they may be pressing just a little bit. And then again, I think they're missing Jared Lackey. He hasn't played this half, and that just disrupts your whole offensive game plan probably.
Well, have you caught the mania yet? It's Matador Mania, the 30-minute program devoted exclusively to Matador athletics. This time of the year, we're talking football, we're talking volleyball, we're talking AWC soccer, and now we're starting to get into the winter sports as basketball is on the horizon, men's and women's. So you'll want to catch Matador Mania every week right here on AWC TV. It's Tuesdays at 7, a rebroadcast Wednesdays at 9. That's right here, Matador Mania on Adelphia Cable Channel 74, and it's Pedro Figueroa who is the injured Cibola Raider, and that is a big loss if that's more than just a cramp.
Pedro gets my vote. I mean, he's been all over the place defensively, so it's gonna be tough to replace him.
2nd down and 10, wide out to each side for Hall, who's under center. Handoff left side, Diaz again. The hole swallows up as he crosses the line of scrimmage and not letting go at all. And making the nice play, Josh Tamayo stops Diaz from getting any further. It's a pickup of 2.
You're right. Tamayo got penetration into the backfield there, and he got a grasp of Diaz's foot, and he wasn't going to let go. So good job by him. It's 3rd and long here for the Yuma Crims, and you got to think they're going to come out here with some sort of play action and get the ball airborne.
Well, the Raiders know that this is 2-down territory for the Crims, and they know that they can't afford to allow any points to get on the board from this drive. Hall stumbles as he comes out from under center, and that's going to be the easiest tackle that Robbie Hayworth is going to have all night.
Now you're in field goal range, but up 2 scores. This is a decision for Coach Stallworth, and he's right now. It looks like he's calling a play, and they're going to go ahead and go for it here, thinking that Cibola's a little off offensively.
And I don't know about this one. I mean, I think that unless there's something wrong with Tito Rodriguez, and it certainly doesn't appear that there is, I think this would be a good time to try and go up by 16. But instead, they're going to go for it. Again, the rollout on the play action. Hall looking, doesn't have anybody to throw to. Throws across the green, and it's caught at the 4. Adams suing the tight end. It's a pickup of 12 on 4th and 11, and Suing very alertly making sure that he was right by where the flag was.
Looks like it's going to be a first down and goal for the Yuma Crims. That's a dangerous throw back against the grain, but just had enough on it to get the completion for the first down. So the other decision maybe Red Stallworth was thinking about was the last time they had their PAT out there, it was blocked, and so he maybe thought, we better go for it here, and the roll of the dice came up Criminals this time.
Tight formation, 1st and goal. Diaz just trying to find a hole. He's able to get about a yard, and that will be the final play of quarter number 3. It's been a good one for the Crims as they are going for the knockout punch. 3 quarters down here at Doane Field in the campus of Yuma High School, and the Crims lead 20-7 over the Cibola Raiders.
As we begin the 4th quarter, the Criminals are going to get backed up with a holding penalty. Happened on the last running play, so they're going to switch ends. Hopefully they'll get the chains figured out, and they had a little trouble with that earlier in the contest. But then they'll back them up, and they're going to have a little bit more real estate to run in order to get that touchdown. But Yuma certainly have taken control of this football game tonight, and they've done it with a balanced attack. And there again, the running of Robert Diaz, and then really just simple pass routes with one-on-one coverage. Trevor Mendez has been able to get himself open, make catches when he's need to, and then they had big plays that they've had out of their fullback, and then the long pass play. A couple of unsung heroes for the Criminals, have made plays when called upon.
Well, Rhett Stallworth and Lucky Arvizo both came into this game very confident about their team's abilities, but Rhett Stallworth was very focused on the field, wasn't saying a whole lot to a whole lot of people, but he just said, I truly feel that we have the ability to do a lot of things in this game tonight, and we have the tools. And so far, I think Yuma has been the best in using those tools to their advantage.
Yeah, no question about it. They've just done a good job of making the right calls at the right time, and then utilizing people like the fullback, not only in a short yardage situation and having the tailback as the decoy, but, they came out and threw it to him and got a big play out of that. And there you said, again, you got the receiver, Ellis Maskey, making one of his only first catch of the season, and it's for a touchdown. So, what you want to do is teams come out defensively and they're saying, okay, well, look, we got to concentrate on taking away Robert Diaz. Robert Diaz will take him away, and then they're usually looking at one of the wide receivers that they got to take away. Those are the key guys. Well, if other people can step up and make plays, that's all the better for you.
So as we get ready to start the 4th quarter, the penalty right at the end of the quarter brings it back to the 14-yard line. So it'll be 1st and goal. I formation, 2 wideouts, both to the far side, as now they change ends, and Yuma moving from left to right, and Diaz caught in the backfield, and Robbie Hayworth snuffed that one out. It'll be a loss of 2, and it's going to set up 2nd and goal and very long.
Well, you're going to probably see some misdirection or the ball go in the air, because Yuma, Cibola basically stunted into that. They ran a blitz package. They were rotating themselves into the running lanes, and that got themselves into the offensive backfield and threw Yuma for a further loss here.
Well, Diaz spent the first 4 games of the season very effectively on the ground. He had 100 yards plus in those first 4 games. He hasn't had a 100-yard rushing day since then, but now he's flirting with it. Here's a pass that's almost intercepted off the hands of Adam Suing, and chastising himself is the defender. I think that might be Filiberto Sanchez.
His number 28, I didn't have him on a roster.
I don't either.
He's made a couple of plays, so the mysterious number 28 had it in his hands. The Criminals go bunch. They go 3 guys, including Diaz, on the left side of the field, but then they try to trail the tight end across Adam Suing, and he just kind of juggled it, and boy, that would have been a big play by Cibola if they could have made the interception.
But it is still a whole lot of yardage to get. 3rd and goal from the 15. Play action. Hall hit as he throws. He's got Matos. 5, touchdown. John Matos has found the end zone for the 3rd time tonight. 2 on the ground and this one through the air. And Matos had all kinds of room. And Hall, once again, really a lot of poise because he knew he was going to get popped when he threw it.
Oh, I know. He got cracked right when he threw the football. But boy, he held his ground and delivered the football right where it needed to be. And I tell you what, John Matos, is the man. I mean, not only is he creating holes for Robert Diaz, but he's coming out of the backfield. They don't account for him. You know, they're so busy looking at all the so-called athletic type kids, but big grinding fullback catches the football and gets his second touchdown.
Hall's second touchdown pass of the night. Tito Rodriguez, now a bad snap. Rodriguez very alertly just picks it up and runs with it, but he's not going to get there as he'll be brought down at the 6. And Keyshawn Williams rather emphatically finishes him off, and Rodriguez is down on the far sideline, and he's hurt. He got twisted around.
Sometimes you fall on that football and the air leaves you, so you lose your breath, and that kind of scares you a little bit. Hopefully that may be the extent of it, but there again, the last 2 PATs for Yuma have been unsuccessful, so that's probably driving those decisions to go for it on the 4th down. But this game right now, it's the 4th quarter, early into the 4th quarter, and Cibola has had a couple chances to stay with Yuma, and they weren't able to convert. But for the second half, has not gone as well for them as the first half did.
Well, and the tough part now for them is this really kind of takes the ball out of Brandon Hall's hands. You've really got to start going to the air because you've got 11 minutes and 12 seconds and you trail by 3 scores. And this is an offense that is very efficient, but I wouldn't call it high-flying, especially without Jared Lackey.
Yeah, Lackey, I think, was the key to their second half. It's trouble because it just takes an added dimension from them throwing the ball, I think, and running as well, because I'm sure he does a lot of the blocking for them. So, as far as Cibola goes, it's 14-7, and they're driving the football toward the end of the half. And mind you, they don't have any timeouts, but I think they tried to go for the end zone a little bit too early instead of trying to get themselves in a position to be closer to the end zone. That cost them that late interception. So, and then they lost Lackey, and that didn't help them as much. So. And then you said they came out, their first drive wasn't successful. They got a first down, and then they ended up having to punt. That's the first punt of the night. Yuma, on the other hand, opportunistically gets the ball, drives down the field, gets that score, and then all of a sudden, things become a lot harder to do when you're down 2 scores, and then you press a little bit, and then you get down 3 scores. So Cibola had a chance for the little interception that might have really saved the day for him. But now it's an uphill climb.
Well, and there's also one component of it that everybody just assumes is an advantage. When you're at home, you've got the home crowd, and everybody thinks that's automatically a home field advantage. But when you've got a game that's this emotional, this close to the vest, usually starting the game, that is a disadvantage because there's so many things that your players have to pay attention to that the road guys don't. This was something that the Crims were able to take and play very smartly because they made sure they stayed ahead. They made sure that they were very efficient with the football, and so therefore they were able to use their crowd to their advantage instead of their disadvantage.
Yeah, and I think both coaches did an excellent job coming into the game saying, look, let's don't do anything that's going to spark the crowd and get the momentum rolling. So that's why you see the sky kicks. You don't want that big special teams play or some sort of miscue that gives the other team that added momentum. So really, both teams came out. They the crowds are into it, but they're not getting anything that really gets you fired up. So they're bringing off the kicker here.
Well, and this is something you never want to see from anybody, but especially when you're talking about a kicker or a punter. Tito Rodriguez can't put any pressure at all on that right leg.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. So as he got taken into the turf, there again, same thing with Lackey. Sometimes those cleats get caught, and then that can cause some damage to whatever joint or ligaments in play there. So get a nice hand from the crowd, which is much well deserved, and they'll get him squared away, and then we'll get this football game back online.
Well, the head coach for Yuma, Rhett Stallworth, is the man assisting Rodriguez off the field, and you see Dr. Greg Pear actually walking along, so he will certainly be checking out.
Dr. Pear, he fixed my knee, so.
Greg Pear was actually the team orthopedic surgeon for the Yuma Scorpions this past season as well. So Rodriguez still being escorted off the field. And by the way, while this game is going on, they got a barn burner going on between San Luis and Casa Grande. The Sidewinders giving Casa Grande all they can handle. They're in the 3rd quarter and they're tied 14 apiece.
How about that? That's great. That's great for the region. It's good to see that Casa Grande and is not going to come out and beat everybody else up. So Cibola's got to crack at them, and the Sidewinders getting it done now. I don't know if they're in the snake pit tonight or not, but hopefully they'll continue to play well and give Casa Grande all they can handle.
Well, and that's that was a tall order when you think about that. Not only was San Luis moving from 4A to 5A by moving into this region, but they were also moving from 4A to 5A without having won a region game in 4A.
And they have a brand new coach. So,
that's right.
You know, that's one thing about these two programs here is stability. You've got good stability from the coaching staff, and the head coaches have been here, and they went to school here. I just think that just helps you all the way around, where you don't have people that are coming and going. You can just see it. The quality of the football has been very good.
Not to mention you've got head coaches, and then you've got assistant coaches that are former head coaches.
Yep.
That also helps. This is the first line drive kick we've seen. This is going to be picked up and run for by Calvin Stover, and Stover able to advance it about 8 yards out to the 32-yard line. The Crims with good coverage, but the Raiders now have the ball at the 32-yard line, 11:08 on the clock, and they trail by 19 points. This is not an insurmountable lead by any stretch, but they have to get points, and they have to think of every fourth down as just another down.
Yeah, there's no question about it. They need to score on either this drive or their next drive, or it's going to be lights out tonight. So, a little bit of pressure on them, and they're going to be trying to find out how to get the ball in number 8's hand here.
Evangelista and Bud Shaw are the wideouts, but as you said, it goes to number 8, Brandon Hall, going off of left tackle and trying to cut inside, but he wound up running into a wall known as Zach Lemos, who is Mike Lemos's younger brother. Of course, Mike Lemos, the former wide receiving great here at Yuma High, and went on to have a successful career in Northern Arizona. So out to the 35-yard line, it's a minimal pickup of 2, and Hall has not been a part of the offense much in this half, but he is over 100 yards rushing. This time, Pena with a deep drop. A lot of time over the middle. Good catch made by Mandahano right at midfield, trying to get away, and tripping him up is Daniel Sandoval, and Mandahano actually lost a yard trying to get back around him to the 49.
But if he sidesteps that last criminal, he has a blocker, and he probably gets up the sideline for 20, 30 more yards. So not a bad play because he already had the first down secured. But that was the play that I was looking for right at the end of the half. Bring somebody across the middle rather than going for the end zone, because that could have got him inside the 10 or something along those lines with plenty of time to go.
Third reception of the night for Mandahano, and it's also the 11th completion for Pena. This is Brandon Hall with a big hole on the draw, down deep into Yuma territory, inside the 40, down to the 36-yard line, and it took Ellis Maskey to finish him off, but a huge pickup that time of 15 yards, and the Raiders are on the move and not taking a lot of time off the clock.
They're not out of it. They're fighting back now. And good play by Bud Shaw out there, not to block from behind. He threw his hands up and said, "All right, I may not help us get any more yards, but we've already got the first down. Let's not beat ourselves here." And Cibola's trying to counter right now.
Clock moves inside of 10 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. Crims 26, Raiders 7, but the Raiders threatening. 3 wideouts, actually 4. Hall going in motion. A roll out to the left side. Pena now with pressure. He throws, and he'll just throw it away. Mandahano was in the area, but Pena saw that he had about 2 guys pursuing him and just threw it over the head out of bounds.
Now there's a smart play by the quarterback, Armando Pena, and he didn't do that earlier, and it cost him an interception. So, if you don't like it and you don't see it, it's first down, but live to play another down. And early in the quarter, he didn't do that. He tried to force it, and he ended up throwing the pick. So, he learned from his mistake, which was good, and then Cibola's got another down to try to advance the football.
And more importantly right now for the Raiders, it stops the clock with 9:40 remaining. So 2nd and 10 from the 35, I formation. Both wideouts go to the far side. Again, a play action. Pena now setting up a screen. There's Hall on the far sideline. He's got the first down before he's pushed out of bounds. Once again, it's Maskey on the tackle, but it's a pickup of 10, and that'll move the sticks.
What they've done the last couple of plays, whether they're 4 wide, they've had their running back Brandon Hall. He's been going in motion, but he's been staying in and blocking. And then this time he kind of fakes the block and he dribbles out there into the flat and gets the reception. So, there again, they use him as a decoy, and then they come back to him when they need him, so they get the first down, and Cibola's beginning to get close to knocking distance at the criminal north end here.
And he was pushed out of bounds, which again stops the clock. So 9:31 remaining. Trips left this time. And now they send the man in motion. That is Michael Slogic in a tight end's position. Fake the handoff to Danny Hayworth. Pena with a lot of time. He's going for it all. Mondahano's down there, and it's incomplete, but a flag is down at the end of the play. Raul Sanchez was down there with Junior Mondahano, and now the question is, was it offensive pass interference? It looked like Mondahano might have pushed off at the end of the play to get separation.
And he didn't really time that real well because, yeah, if he attacked the defender, and he had no reason to because the ball was thrown over, and they're going to call the Cibola guy over Pena, so it is on the criminals. But you're right, Jim. That could have maybe gone either way. The ball was thrown beyond Mondahano, and and really had no sense in doing that. So they must have said there was a hold there. Unfortunately for Cibola, it's not one of those pro things where it's in the end zone and it's at the 1 yard line. They're just going to mark it off and they're going to get a first down out of it, I think.
Well, let's see what they march off, and it is going to be the pass interference call, so that moves it half the distance down to the 12.5, and it gives them an automatic first down with 9:19 remaining. And Pena's already brought them up to the line. They're ready to go. 2 wide outs to the near side. Pena hands off to Hall, and Hall falls down immediately, and that's going to be a loss back to the 16-yard line, and I'm not sure what happened there.
He just fell down. I mean, that's about all you can say. Bless his heart, he got the I don't think he was trying to make a cut. I don't think that anybody got to him. There's the replay right here. He gets it, and I think he sees the defender right there. And
I think Pena actually may have tripped Hall up.
He might have got Pena's foot as he took off on the run there. So 2nd and long for Cibola, tough break for them, and then they're back into their 4 wide package here.
2nd down and 13. They've got to get to the 2 for a first down, and of course 15 yards gets them a touch. Pena, quick drop, throw to Mondahano, trying to spin away from the tackler. Brought down at about the 6-yard line. Gonzalez wouldn't let him out of the grasp, but that's a good pickup of 9 yards, and it makes it a much more manageable 3rd down.
No question about it. He did a good job of running off the defender there again. That's what Trevor Mendez for the Criminals have been doing. So Maldonado, they come back, one-on-one coverage, drive off the defender. Good timing route, catches it, and then he gets his momentum going forward. And then now they got this critical 3rd and short.
3rd and about 3.5. I formation behind Pena. They're going to hand off to Hall. He cuts inside, but he's stacked up at the line. No gain. It'll bring up 4th down, and the Raiders have no choice. They've got to go.
They got to go, and they got to get it. If they don't get it here, it's going to be pretty much lights out, you'd think. So they did a nice job clawing their way back into it, but all rest with Cibola on this play. They must convert this 4th down if they have any chance of trying to win this football game.
So Hall waiting for the play to be brought in, and Brandon Hall actually is going to head to the sidelines. Mondahano and Danny Hayworth will replace him. So you've got to think passing down.
Yeah, I would think they'd go with a timeout here as well. I would call a timeout.
Clock is moving inside of 7.5 minutes. Pena with a hard count trying to draw him off sides, and it doesn't work. The Crims hold their ground, so again, Pena forced to burn a timeout like he did in the first half.
Yeah, and then again, you go up there, you give yourself an opportunity for Yuma to jump off sides. They're, again, well-coached teams. Both sides have done a good job, and they don't go for it. And then with your best player on the sideline, you know they're going to call that timeout, get his shoe fixed or whatever they were doing there, and get him back in the game. So
well, and it's pretty obvious that the Crims, no matter when it happens, when Brandon Hall goes to the sidelines, they automatically look at it as a running play, and they don't seem to key on anybody else. But so far, the Raiders haven't necessarily tried to free that up by throwing a pass when Hall's on the sideline.
Yeah, and it allows them to be a little bit looser, and sometimes you can get in a different pass coverage, so it's not one-on-one out on the receivers. But right now, for Cibola, this is it. This could be their crack at the state playoffs, city championship. Roll it all into one play. This is probably it.
4th down. Ball at the 5. They've got to get to the 2 to extend the drive. Hand off Hall straight up the middle. Trying to push the pile forward. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. What a play by Brandon Hall. He was stopped at the 3 and just kept on moving.
He did his Robert Diaz imitation. He became a power runner there now. He's one of the guys that likes to slash and get out in the open field, but he got said, I'm going to be a power runner and get myself into the end zone. Cibola breathing signs of life right now, and they're going to get on there and try this extra point and cut this thing down into a one-score game.
So Mondahano on for the extra point. He is 1 for 1 so far tonight. Holding for him is the quarterback, Pena. The kick is up. The kick splits the uprights. So there is still time, 7:15 remaining for the Raiders, and they now trail 26-14 here in the Yuma City Championship. Again, if the Raiders can come back and win, they will win the first Yuma City title that they've possessed since 2002. If the Crims win it, then they're just looking for a win 2 weeks from now against Kofa, and they will defend their city championship for the second straight year.
Yeah. Got themselves into where 2 touchdowns will get them a tie. They don't have to even do any extra points. They don't have to get any extra points, so they've cut it down to 2 scores. It's probably not time for the onside kick.
Not yet.
Although it's still probably in the back of the minds there.
Well, and see, now that's when the sky kick, the little flop shot that they've been using, works against you, because the defenses are the receiving team is already expecting a short kick. Trying to do it on sides doesn't necessarily work as effectively as if you've been kicking it deep all game long.
No, and the Criminals, they got their good hands folks out there, so they got their onside kick team. Now's the time you kind of squib it over the top and make the guy run for it. So, I would, if I'm these guys, I would kind of kick it to one side or the other and deep and make the Yuma Criminals back there go get it.
Well, and I'm kind of surprised at this formation for Yuma. I'm surprised that they have not tried to put more people on the line or more people back a little bit. They are showing onside kick, but Mandahano, he's going to try it, but that's much too hard of a kick, and it squirts through everybody all the way out of bounds, and it actually hits on the fence behind the Cibola sideline, so that's going to give the Crims the ball.
And Mick Megan, there again, Mick Megan's a smart football player. He understands he's the guy that can make a play on it, but he knows the ball's going to go out of bounds, so just let it go. And Cibola's defense now is going to have to step up and get them the ball back here rather quickly.
They have no choice but to go 3 and out, and you know exactly where this ball is going. This is going to be a steady diet of Robert Diaz to try and take the time off the clock, because the Raiders, they have 2 of their 3 timeouts, but they certainly can't afford to burn them now. So they come up to the line. Matos right now in an offset eye with Diaz. And loading up in the box is the Raider defense. Handoff Diaz, right side. He is hit at the 46-yard line. The line of scrimmage was the 45. Slajek went low. Figueroa, who's back in the ball game, went high, and it's a 1-yard gain.